The horn sounds. That means time for football at Towson University. Angelo Guglielmello will tee up the football for Stony Brook.
Before we start, I want to give a special happy birthday shout out to we talked about offensive lineman Michael Bamiro, a legend for Stony Brook. Today's his birthday. Wanted to give him a happy birthday shout out.
Guglielmello ready. Diego Hunter, the top returner in the conference, ready. Let's do it. End over end kick. It's short to the 6-yard line. Hunter's got it. Stays outside the numbers at the 20. Hunter, a lot of room at the 30 and pushed out of bounds. Good starting field position for Towson. Chris Ferguson of the offense will set up shop at the 35-yard line.
Well, let's see what Towson does, Johnny, here against these Stony Brook Seawolves. I would think the beginning of this game, Towson will try whatever in the script. You know, both teams usually have a script of their first 8 to 10 plays. So we'll see what Towson has to give for the Stony Brook Seawolves today.
Towson was first on the board 2 weeks ago, their most recent game, in that 48-21 loss against San Diego State. A 19-yard catch and run for Jerry Howard Jr., the running back, who is on the left side for Chris Ferguson. He gets the pitch and met immediately at the 40-yard line.
Nice stop there by Tyler King, the linebacker for the Seawolves. He'll be a key for the Seawolves. If he gets double-digit tackles, Seawolves will have a chance to win today.
Tyler King, second on the team in tackles with 39. Had a team best 8 last week with another half sack at Rhode Island. Single back formation. 4 receivers set. Ferguson takes the snap on 2nd and 8. Hands off Howard again. He plunges up the middle. Gain of maybe 2 more. Sets up 3rd and manageable for the Towson Tigers.
Towson trying the run game. You know, seeing how much they can progress against the Seawolves defense.
The first of probably many critical 3rd downs today. Towson Tigers in their home blacks, yellow pants, moving from left to right on your radio dial. 4 receivers set on 3rd down and 5. Maybe early movement, no whistle, no pressure either. All day to throw and completing over the 50-yard line for the first down. Ferguson finds his man. First 3rd down, first conversion. And it's Jabari Allen, his 9th reception of the season, moves the chains.
Yeah, good job by that offensive line, giving the quarterback plenty of time for Towson.
Tigers offense has really struggled in the run game, 107th in FCS, 85 yards per game. But passing, that's been more their bread and butter, about 215 yards per game. First down at 10 from inside Stony Brook territory. Looking left, throwing there, and dropping is Caleb Smith. Wide open just by the far sideline. Their trusty receiver couldn't hang on.
Fortunate for the Seawolves.
Smith last week had 9 receptions. How about 6 of them on their final drive of the first half? It resulted in a Caleb Smith touchdown.
The Seawolves know exactly where Townsend's going to throw the ball, so it wouldn't be the worst thing that the Seawolves come up with a pick here early.
Howard, the tailback, single back formation, hands off left, runs outside the numbers toward the far sideline, picks up 1, maybe 2. Clock continues to move.
Casey Williams on the stop, Johnny.
He'll be an important piece of the Stony Brook defense. He did have a sack in the Towson game 2 years ago. Williams so far this season, just 1 sack for a Stony Brook defensive unit that has got to the quarterback 10 times, and they've all come in the last 4 games. Another big 3rd down here. 7 yards to go on the Stony Brook 44-yard line. Ball placed on the left hash for Chris Ferguson. The former Maine Black Bear and Liberty Flame in the shotgun. Street in motion. He handles the snap, throws to the near side. Catch made by Hunter, trying to navigate his way to the first down marker, and he walked. Decision time now for Rob Ambrose. 4th down and looking like a long 1 yard for Towson after the pickup by Diego Hunter.
Yeah, nice play off the grain right there. I would assume Townsend's going to go for it. They've been pretty successful in this drive early in the first quarter.
Offense is back on the field. And boy, that was a wrong marker by me. A long 1 has turned into a short 3. Single back formation yet again. 3 yards necessary for Towson. Ferguson handles a snap, looks toward Howard, throws in the flats, makes the catch, and is across for the first down. Despite a shoestring tackle by Randy Pringle, it's another first down for Towson, and they convert on 4th.
Great second effort there by Jerry Howard Jr., the running back. And right now, Towson methodically moving down the field close to the 30-yard line.
Jerry Howard Jr., the redshirt senior from South Carolina, who spent the first 4 years of his collegiate career playing in ACC football down at Georgia Tech. Single back formation, it's Howard. First down at 10, he gets the carry. Right up the middle, keeps turning the legs before Carthel Flowers Lloyd wraps him up. Gain of 4 on the play, second down upcoming.
Towson seems happy with the run and throwing the ball in this first drive, and the Seawolves going to have to make a stop here, or Towson will either get a field goal or a touchdown.
Officially goes down as a 3-yard gain for Howard Jr., who has been the lone tailback on this drive. It's the opening drive for the Tigers. From Stony Brook's 29-yard line, Ferguson the pitch on a sweep from far side to near. Not a whole lot doing there. Daniel Thompson, the 4th, got the carry. Not his M.O.,
no.
The wide receiver. And a pickup of maybe 3 will set up yet another short third down, this from the 25-yard line.
Already 33 yards in offense for Towson.
Well, Jerry Howard Jr. only had 19 yards on the ground 2 weeks ago at San Diego State on 12 carries. And he has passed that in the yard department already on this opening drive.
Towson's been successful already early on third downs in their first try, and now we have a whistle.
And play clock was dwindling on the Tigers, and they're going to use their first timeout.
30 seconds.
Smooth sailing so far for Rob Ambrose's group, who, as noted, are off the bye week. Fresh legs. No excuses, though, for Stony Brook, as another Stony Brook coach would say. Not excuses, just factors.
Well, at this point, Johnny, you'll take the field goal attempt because you don't want Towson, to start off with a 7-point lead. So a key third down in this game.
Devin Matthews in the game as the tailback. Fullback Hamilton in motion. Handoff goes to Matthews right up the middle. He's got the first down and more. No issues for number 35 in black and yellow. Running over Stony Brook defenders. The 4th third down for Towson, and they've all come on either 3rd or 4th down.
Yeah, big hole created by the line for the Tigers. And Towson really pushing the pressure on the 19.
Towson inside the red zone now. First down and 10 from the 19. Diego Hunter, the tailback, he gets the pitch. Hunter runs to the left, met by the Stony Brook D, but bounces off a pair of tacklers and stays in bounds and navigates his way up the sideline for a good gainer.
Second and third attempts by the Tigers really hurting Stony Brook.
It was met once, maybe twice by Stony Brook, and able to bounce off a pair of tacklers. It's a good gain for Diego Hunter, who was coined the Percy Harvin of Towson football by Jalen Dixon of Baltimore Sport and Life. A wide receiver, a kickoff returner, and a running back who already has 2 carries today.
Very versatile, but that's a bold statement.
Play fake to Howard. Plenty of time for Ferguson. Rolling right, still searching. Ferguson's going to tuck it and run. And he's close to the first down marker. Looks like he did fall over the 10 for the first.
Yeah, defense has got to go from right to left to try to get that tackle a little earlier. Good run by the quarterback from Towson.
Not enough for the first down. Another third down and short forthcoming. Hasn't been an issue so far for Rob Ambrose's group. Stony Brook looking for a third down stop. The Tigers just have to move the ball forward. Ferguson under center. Hand off Matthews, looking for a yard. He's got it. And that's about all he got. The same play that Towson used on the third down run moments ago for Matthews. This one with less success, but it gets the job done. Now it's first down and goal for Towson for a drive that has eaten about half of this first quarter clock.
Calling this 4th and 1. Obviously going for it. And it'll be interesting to see what Towson does with a 4th and 1. Look for maybe possibly a quarterback's keeper.
Ferguson under center again. Takes the snap, handoff Matthews, plunges ahead for the first down and all the way inside the 5. So if at first you do not succeed with Matthews, try again. Devin Matthews, who in the last 2 weeks, just 4 carries for 16 yards. He's already got 10 yards in this drive.
You can see, Johnny, the Tigers are very efficient running the ball early on.
And that is something they haven't really done this season. Chuck Priori noted you could throw out their stats, running or passing. They played some really good defenses. First down and goal from the 5. Ferguson handles the snap, hands off Matthews, running right, ahead to the 2. And that's all he'll get to. Randy Pringle was in on the tackle again, the defensive back. Second time we've called on his name here in this opening drive.
Pringle doesn't make the stop, it's probably a touchdown.
And that clock continues to tick. We're under 6 minutes and 30 seconds in this first quarter, and Stony Brook has not touched the football. Second down and goal from the 3. Ferguson is lined up as a wide receiver. Direct snap Matthews. He goes up the middle. He goes into the end zone. Touchdown Towson. A methodical opening drive for Rob Ambrose's group. And it's capped with a 3-yard rush by Devin Matthews. 6-0 Tigers.
We talk about versatility of players. Tigers going into the bag of tricks and getting the touchdown any way they can.
Almost looked like Towson took a page out of Stony Brook's book right there. Grounded pound 90% of the time and find pay dirt. Extra point is up and through. Late flag as well.
It'll probably be declined.
Keegan Vaughn, the true freshman kicker, are now 9 for 10. And the penalty is on Stony Brook. Penalty declined. We will keep it here as Stony Brook looks to get things going offensively. 6:10 remaining in the first quarter, and they're going to get the ball for the first time.
Yeah, good job by Tigers with methodically moving down the field and putting it 7 points right off the first drive. Now we'll see what Tykel Fields has to offer for the Seawolves.
Towson 7, Stony Brook nothing. 6:10 remaining first quarter here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Glad you're with us. He's Jeff Bernstein. I'm Johnny Wincott. And this is a big one. Week 5 between a pair of one-win CAA ball clubs. Only the second conference tilt for the Towson Tigers. Week 2, they fell to New Hampshire, 26-14 final. Well, one of these teams will put an end to their 3-game losing streak. Rob Ambrose called his last 3 weeks the meat grinder with the teams that they've had to go up against: New Hampshire, North Dakota State, and San Diego State.
That's what FCS schools do. They play against some big-time competition. You know, most of those games are money deals, you know, to fund the program. But then they get back to business, like especially this week with 6 CAA games.
McDonough kicks off. Harris Jr. bobbles and fumbles and jumps back on top at the 15-yard line. Oh no. The struggles continue for Sean Harris Jr., who fumbled the opening kickoff at home against Fordham. And his first effort at a kickoff return here, he does hang on. But that's after he hopped on the loose ball.
Yeah. I thought he had a great game in Oregon, but after that, he really hasn't established himself as being one of the prime-time players for the Seawolves.
So Tykel Fields and his offense going to go here at Towson. 6:07 remaining first quarter. Stony Brook sets up shop at their own 16-yard line. Hayek, the motion man. Play fake to Lawson. Rolling right field, floats one, caught. It's Sean Harris Jr. Enough for the first down on a 15-yard gain. The Archbishop-Stepanak connection. Fields to Harris Jr.
Good job by Harris Jr. We'd like to see him go, and he's a very, very good player, as you mentioned, from the Bronx. And that connection, Stepanak Jr., Stepanak to Stepanak, is a good duo.
Well, you better believe the Towson defense going to stack the box today for Stony Brook to pass. Here it's a sweep, handoff, Harris met in the backfield. After the reception by Sean Harris Jr., showing off his versatility with the handoff, but Stony Brook loses a yard on the play, 2nd and 11 coming up.
Towson was not fooled by that play. We really haven't seen Harris Jr. make a move like that in the backfield.
Seawolves would love to get Tykill Fields going through the air. Only 106 yards last week and a pick. Field drops back to pass, has time, throws right. It's Harris Jr. again. This one just in front of the first down marker. It's a gain of 10. They needed 11. 3rd down and 1 coming up from the 39.
Good job by Harris Jr. once again from Fields. The Seawolves doing a nice job almost at midfield.
Well, for what it's worth, Tykill Fields had a pretty good game the last time these two teams met, but you got to go back to 2019. Fields threw for 241 yards, 205 of them to Nick Anderson. I formation for Stony Brook, needing 1 yard. Fields the handoff to Lawton, and he will get it. Kept the legs churning and fought off initial contact.
Second effort got him the first down.
For a moment there, looked like Stony Brook was going to be stopped in their own territory. Instead, the chain gang gets moving, much like this first quarter has. 4:20 remaining.
Second first down for Stony Brook.
Fields back into the shotgun, Lawton on his right hip. 3 receivers set, Helms Jr., the lone man on the near side. Fields looking that way. Deep ball, uncorks. Too much. Incomplete. Looking for big play, Tay.
Fields loves the deep ball and getting better at it, but just a little short there.
Hey Jeff, the clock stopped. 4:05. The first time in quite some time.
That's what happens when you have an incomplete pass.
Stony Brook was looking to move quickly. Somehow 2 footballs wound up on the field. Officials get that other one out of there. 2nd down and 10 for the 41. Stony Brook in their own territory. Heads on swivels. They all take a peek at Chuck Priori on the sideline. 16th year head coach is calling the plays this season for SBU.
Both teams very similar. Both are going to try to run this ball, throw some small passes.
Fields rolling right, whips it to Hunter Hayek on the far sideline, incomplete.
Hayek, the Rutgers transfer. Missed pass there. And now puts the pressure on the Seawolves to complete a 3rd down possession.
Another guy Stony Brook would like to get sprung on the offensive end, Hunter Hayek, who only had 1 catch last week for 2 yards in the overtime loss against Rhode Island. 4 receivers set for Tykill Fields. 3 on the near side. 3rd down and 10 for the 41-yard line for Stony Brook. Towson backs off. Fields throws right side, caught by a sliding Newton. Is it enough? It is. Into opponent territory. They needed 10, and Khalil Newton gave him 12.
Yeah, Mark Collins Jr., the defender, actually went too far towards the end zone, and that set up the completion for Stony Brook.
Mark Collins Jr., one of those many transfers we noted on the defensive end, who spent 4 years at South Dakota State. A couple years ago, led the nation in pass breakups. Motion man, Delonte Helms Jr., but timeout, or at least a whistle right now before the snap. And the previous play is under review.
That he caught the ball?
I guess so.
Maybe hit the turf?
As noted, it was a sliding grab by Newton on the far side of the field. Not the best vantage point for either of these two broadcasters, but from the naked eye, it did look like a clean catch for Newton.
You know, the coaching staff does see the video, so if they are checking it, and the replay officials are here at every CAA game, so one of the officials was buzzed down to review it. So we can't see it. We don't have the video monitor. But from our advantage point, Johnny, it looked like a catch, but not sure how good our eyes are at this point.
Mine are not good. That's why we got.
Mine aren't either.
We've got the big old binoculars here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Didn't help us on the last play. So it's 3:34 remaining here in the opening quarter. 7-0 Towson over Stony Brook. The Tigers took their opening drive, marched down the field, took off more than half the first quarter clock, capped by a 3-yard run from Devin Matthews. Stony Brook, a pretty good-looking first drive here.
Right.
But if the review brings back any other result, that drive will likely be halted in their own territory.
You know, like we mentioned, 3 players that can do well for Stony Brook. Fields, Harris, and maybe Hayek. You know, if those guys can, and Lawton, those 3 or 4 guys can just do what they do, you know, Seawolves have a good chance to win this game, you know, but you got to make those catches. You can't have any mistakes, no penalties, you know, those are the things, and finish off the game. This will be a game in the fourth quarter. I mean, I think both teams are pretty similar, and you know, we'll see what the officials have to say.
Well, offense is back on the field for Stony Brook. And they've confirmed the previous play. It does stand first down for Stony Brook. And now for the first time today, they are officially into opponent territory.
Our eyes are pretty good.
Here we go.
I thought it was a catch, but this is a long way away.
I kept the receipt. We can go return the binoculars. So Stony Brook from just in front of the Towson Tiger logo at the 48-yard line, waiting for the officials to give them the okay. And now they've got it. Ball on the right hash for Tykel Fields. He's in the shotgun. Motion man Hayek. Handoff Tyson Lawton. Following the right guard. Past the 45-yard line up to the 42. Lawton gets about half the yards necessary on first down. Stony Brook's lead back, and the conference's leading rusher is nearing the 500 mark.
I like how Lawton runs to the right side and moves the defense and creates holes. That's how Lawton is very successful.
Last week, Lawton, 28 totes, 154 yards on the ground and a touchdown. That's a career high. Had tied his career high just a few weeks earlier at Colgate. Play fake on second down. Fields whips to the near sideline, has his man caught. Helms Jr. at the 31. It's a first down and the chains move. 2:40 to go in the first quarter. Clock will stop briefly.
Charles Peoples with the stop for Towson. And Stony Brook pretty much getting every throw that they've made has been pretty much on target. So Chuck Priori has to like the offense progression so far.
Tykel Fields 5 for 7. He only completed 9 passes last week. New set of downs for Stony Brook from the 32. Sean Harris Jr., the motion man. Handoff up the middle. Lawton makes the tackler miss, spins, and all the way down to the 24-yard line, we'll say. It's an 8-yard gain, and again, second down and short after a good first down run by the Staten Island sprinter.
Yeah, you have to guess right if you're Townsend. Is either Harris going to get the ball going to the right, Lawton's going to go up the middle, or Fields is going to hold the ball and throw it, or run himself. So there's a lot of options for Stony Brook in this today against the Tigers.
And life is just so much easier on the offensive end when you've got a second down and 1. From the Towson 23-yard line, Fields in the gun again. Another motion man is Harris, but the handoff goes to Lawton. Plunges his way up the middle. It's enough for the first down. Out to the 20-yard line. And the Seawolves have entered the red zone.
Yeah, Lawton already close to 5 yards per run, which is nice to see. And Stony Brook getting close to putting up that first score of the afternoon.
Tigers were able to stifle Lawton 2 seasons ago, but it's a pretty different Tyson Lawton now in 2021. He's on the left hip for Tykel Fields, and again, all heads on swivels for Stony Brook as they look to the far sideline at Chuck Priori. 3 receivers set. Fields takes the snap, play fake, looks right, throws right, caught. Helms makes Collins miss. Still dragging tacklers past the first down marker. He's inside the 10.
I'll tell you, Johnny, Tykel Fields can throw anywhere he wants. I mean, the defender for Townsend doesn't get there in time, and Fields just having a field day. right now, throwing the ball right, left, wherever he needs to throw it.
Now Stony Brook, though, trying to convert in the red zone. This is their 20th trip to the red zone this season. Only 9 touchdowns. Fields looks like he's going to go on. No, he was about to go under center. Play clock at 8. He backpedals and is now in the shotgun. Takes the snap off a play fake. Rolling right, Fields feels pressure. Avoiding one tackler, takes it out of bounds.
Going forward is the key for any quarterback. You know, you see quarterbacks sometimes that don't throw the ball, try to run it in themselves. Fields is very durable. He's a big guy. He could take the hits, and he got yards for the Seawolves, which is good.
And he avoided a hit from maybe the biggest hit giver on the Towson defense, Christian Dixon. And that play will be our final play of the first quarter. And Stony Brook will let these last few seconds tick away. 7-0 your score. Only one drive for each team, and it eats up all 15 minutes. Tigers 7, Seawolves nothing. We go back to Long Island inside the WUSB studios with Matt Mankiewicz.
And thanks a lot, guys. Matt Mankiewicz in the studios of WUSB. And for starters, we shall check up on the CAA scores for today. Another game in the books. Rhode Island held on to win 22-15 over Delaware. Nothing. Let's send it back.
Thank you, Matt. We'll hop right into the action here. Start of the second quarter. Second down and goal for Stony Brook from the 4-yard line, trailing 7-0. Fields in the gun. Hayek from near side to forward motion. Hand off to Lawton on the snap. Lawton plunges for the end zone. Football's loose. It's into the end zone, and Stony Brook recovers. But the officials say he's down at the 1.
Yeah, his knee hit the 1.
That's a win-win for Stony Brook either way. If it's a fumble, that's a touchdown. They recovered it.
You know,
but it's not a fumble.
As Matt was reading those scores, big win already for Rhode Island, beating Delaware 22-15. Now Rhode Island 3-0 in the CAA.
Makes Stony Brook's loss last week look a little bit better, 27-20 in overtime. Stony Brook on the 1-yard line. We're just 30 seconds into quarter number 2. This is still the opening drive for the Seawolves, after Towson marched down the field and took 8 minutes off the clock in their first drive. I formation. Fields to Lawton, wrapped up, turning the legs, crosses the goal line. Is he in? Yes. Seawolves 6. Towson Lawton has done it again. The leading rusher in the Colonial Athletic Association. As Stony Brook on the board at 7-6.
Lawton living up to that billing of running back you at Stony Brook, with a lot of great runners for the Seawolves, and Lawton healthy this year, putting the Seawolves hopefully a point away from tying the game.
5th rushing touchdown of the season for Towson Lawton. And the Staten Island native continues to provide for Chuck Priori's group. Angelo Guglielmello out for the extra point. Snap good. Hold there as well. And the kick is through. That will make a happy Chuck Priori, who noted that without that missed extra point against Rhode Island, maybe his team wins in regulation 21-20.
Yeah, Chuck Priori usually likes to either win or lose a game without the kicking game. You know, that's the way he's been brought up, that the kicking game usually shouldn't be a factor. So the extra point was good today. You know, Stony Brook would rather score touchdowns than field goals, and both teams right now pretty much similar still. You know, we're in the second quarter. We really haven't learned much, other than both teams are going to run and throw a little here and there. So will we see a little trickery in the second quarter?
A very similar looking first drives from these two teams. They take a large chunk of clock off, and I'd say, 85% run. Stony Brook probably threw more than Towson did, which is a little bit of a surprise early on.
I really like what I saw, Johnny, from the offense for Stony Brook. Very patient. They knew who they were going to throw to. I think Towson knew as well. But I think our athletes are a little better than Towson right now.
Towson's drive went 13 plays, 62 yards over 8.5 minutes. Stony Brook had about 15 plays, 85 yards, 7:04. End-over-end kick from Angelo Guglielmello to the near side. Caught at the 12-yard line by Hunter. He's got room as he runs across the field. Carthel Flowers, Lloyd there to lay the thunder. Oh my, at the 22-yard line. Stony Brook's leader in solo tackles has another, and he needed no help.
CFL, as I call him, with the tackle, right? Good job, and that's a game-saving tackle right there.
Diego Hunter, by the way, that's spelled D''AGO, is the leading punt returner and leading kick returner in the CAA. We've already seen him catch a ball and take 2 totes. We'll call on his name again, I'm sure. First down and 10 for the 22-yard line. Ferguson hands off. Up the middle, Jerry Howard Jr. spinning ahead for 1, maybe 2 yards to the 24-yard line.
Well, key for the defensive line right now. Okay, you saw the first series for what Towson does. You saw the tapes all week for what the Tigers do. Now, defense got to get some stops. They can't have Towson plodding down the field, bringing down first downs. Got to get some stops here and take advantage of the lead if you can get it.
So they'll say that last run went for only 1 yard. Second down and 9:23. Ferguson, quick out to the near side. Ryan Rutkowski, the trusty veteran receiver, is the one who makes the play, but it's only a minimal gain. Give him maybe 3 more. Third down and 6 coming up with 13 minutes remaining here in the first half.
In that first drive for Stony Brook, 85 yards total offense for the Seawolves. They passed it more times than they ran. They passed it for 60 yards and only ran for 25. So a different look for the Seawolves.
We knew Stony Brook would have to pass successfully to have success today. Third down and 6. Stony Brook brings the pressure. Ferguson hit as he throws, incomplete. And who was it? It was Bernie's boy, CFL, Carthel Flowers Lloyd.
Yeah, he was definitely right there on the back of the Towson Tigers players. And they got a punt here by the Tigers. Good job by the Stony Brook defense.
For the first time today, we get to see number 3 in white, Saban Wincott. Wincott typically the number 2 back for Stony Brook, their number 1 punt returner. Shane McDonough, who is the place kicker on kickoffs, is lined up as the punter, and he's a good one. Low snap, McDonough's got it. High booming kick sends Wincott back to the 25-yard line, and he makes the fair catch. Stony Brook offense will set up shop at the 26 in a 7-7 contest with 12:36 remaining in the first half.
And good job by Wincott with the special teams play. Usually at this level, you've got to play more than one position to make your mark, and always good to have a good running back as your punt returner. Now, if you go offense and defense at this level, that's a little asking too much. In high school, some of these guys who were there in high school, they were playing offense and defense. But when you get to this level, at the FCS level, they only ask you to play one side of the ball.
You should probably note that this is an area that's well known for producing good high school football players, or rather just good football players. Stony Brook, in fact, has a bevy of guys from Maryland, including some in their defensive backs. Gregory Young, Jabari Reddick, just to name a few. But it will be the Stony Brook offense that will return to the field in about 30 seconds. It'll be their second drive of the contest, even though we're into the second quarter. If you're just joining us on 90.1 FM, WUSB, Towson marched down the field and scored on their first drive. Stony Brook marched down the field and scored on their first drive. After the Tigers punt, Chuck Priori's group will take to the field at the 26-yard line, I believe. A little bit easier field position than last time. They had to go 85 yards.
Well, running back coach Omar King, longtime assistant coach for Stony Brook, has recruited in this area, as you mentioned, some of the great players that they've had. So the Seawolves like this area, the Baltimore, Maryland area. It's always been a big product picker for the Seawolves. The
DMV?
Yes.
That's the DMV you'd like to see, not the other DMV.
No. You can't even go there anymore because you have to do it online.
Wincott in there as the tailback for Stony Brook, giving a little breather to Tyson Lawton. Fields takes a snap, play fake. He's got time, running out of the pocket left side. He will throw to the far sideline, incomplete. Good play by the veteran quarterback Tykel Fields to get rid of the football, with Vinny Schaefer closing down on him, big number 99.
Usually if the defensive line can get Fields to roll out, the play is pretty much dead. But with Fields, he comes around the corner, he can run one for a touchdown. Fields, with the body level that he has, body type that he has, and some of the athletic skills he has, if he falls into the right team, he may be able to get a shot, at the next level.
Fields back in the gun. Takes a snap, looking to throw. He's going to take off and run, though, and has room to the near sideline. Jukes out of bounds after picking up the first down.
How many teams can do that, Johnny? How many teams can have the running back say, well, I'm just going to take it and go for 20 yards, and not be touched? We saw that last year that he had some 50-yard scampers being untouched. So Fields, very, very versatile player, which not many teams at this level you have.
Towson did pick him 3 times back in 2019 at Laval Stadium, but in that game, Fields, who threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 77 yards. Back in the gun. Handoff right up the gut, Wincott, his first toe of the day. It's a good one. 4, 5, maybe 6 yards for the veteran tailback, who for his Stony Brook career averages 5 yards per carry, which I think is rather quietly impressive for Wincott, who will likely hit the 1,000-yard mark in the next week or so.
Not a doubt. And mark my word, I'm sure Chuck Priori and Fields watched that 3-interception game maybe a couple times this week, just to drain it in his head.
2nd down and 5 after Wincott does half the work needed. He remains out there for Tykill Fields. We've seen that with Tyson Lawton, in and out in spurts. Handoff again to Wincott. Tries to go right up the gut again, this time less successful. Out to the 43-yard line. Stony Brook needs the 47 for a first down. 3rd down coming up.
And I always love those shotgun quarterbacks. Quarterback becomes athletic when he's in the shotgun position. Doesn't want to get underneath because he feels all those defenders are right close to him. But Fields, when he's in the shotgun, he said, well, I got room to make a move.
Trips receivers on the far side for Fields. And as Stony Brook often does, they get set and then they look to the sideline on the far side. Wincott, the tailback, on the left hip of Tykill Fields. 3rd down and 4 from the 43. Here's the snap. Fields throws to the flats. It's Wincott. He's got some work to do, running with his helmet down, still moving the legs. He will not get there, only to the 45-yard line. He's stood up by the Tigers.
And you mentioned the look over on the pause there, as it's going to be a 4th down. The look over, Coach Martino, the assistant coach, he wears blue for the play call. So, you're seeing a sea of red. Who are you going to look out for the call? Coach Martino, the assistant coach, wears blue to get that call.
You tell me part the Red Sea, and here comes the blue.
Right.
For the first time today, and this is a good sign despite how talented he's been, we see the punter, Mitchell Wright. An average of 45 yards per punt last week. He hit it 7 times. The ambidextrous Australian utilizes the right foot, end over end to the 23-yard line. Fair caught by Hunter. That's quietly a relatively important battle today. Mitchell Wright against Diego Hunter. Because Wright for Stony Brook continued to pin Rhode Island deep last week. Hunter is the best in the conference and at any point could break one free.
Correct, but I'm sure the coaches didn't make that part of the scouting plan. Punter versus punter.
Punter versus Hunter.
Right, but you don't want to see punters today. You want to see scores, field goals, no kicking game whatsoever.
Towson quickly out there to set up the offense at the 22-yard line. On 1st down and 10, handoff Howard Jr. He had some room, or rather Matthews, and a good late tackle made by Stony Brook. That was Reggie DeManch, who's top 3 in the conference and Stony Brook's leading tackler, as Matthews nearly broke one free.
DeManch becoming one of these Seawolves legends as an all-time great on the defensive side for Stony Brook. But you can see the defense for Stony Brook, they're learning. They've seen a couple of plays what Towson has done, and the defense is getting better and better as the game progresses.
Matthews remains the tailback on the left hip for Ferguson. Gets the tote on 2nd down and is ripped into the ground by Casey Williams. The Temple transfer lassoed him down after only a gain of 1. And it sets up a quick 3rd down and 6.
Another veteran, Casey Williams, for the Seawolves defense. And a big 3rd down for the Tigers. Tigers are 2 of 4 3rd down plays.
Ball at the 26-yard line. Ferguson needs the 32. Ferguson back to pass, looking right, throws right, and it's hauled in at the 1st down marker. It's enough for the 1st down, and a nice play by Darian Street. He was well covered but Ferguson was on target and put it in a spot that only Street could grab it.
Good catch. Anthony DiNicola almost had the interception there. It was very, very close. But just squeezed in for the first down for the Tigers. That is their fifth first down. That's their fifth first down.
Darian Street, the second-year Tiger, transferred from Pitt. His brother Devin had a 3-year NFL career, caught 1 touchdown in that NFL career, of course, against the New York Giants.
You mentioned Fields having a good one. Ferguson as well, 5 of 7, 32 yards.
First down and 10, handoff to Matthews. Tries to get the edge, and he's got it. Pushed out of bounds after a 7-yard gain. And both teams having their way on the ground. For Towson, it's been Jerry Howard Jr. and Devin Matthews for a rush attack that has been rather dormant in the first 4 weeks.
Very similar teams, as we said in the pregame. Seawolves need to make a stop. But the clock moving pretty quickly. We're already 7:45 remaining into the half.
Second down and 3. Towson at their own 40-yard line. Single back formation. Flowers Lloyd showing blitz. Here he comes on a play fake. Ferguson with time. Now running out. Throws off his back foot. Incomplete. An awkward looking throw from the redshirt senior Ferguson, rather the grad Ferguson, with pressure coming from Brandon Lopez. And well, when you're 6'1" and nearly 300 pounds, you'd probably be scared as well.
Good stop by Lopez. Seawolves had everything covered. They've done a good job on the scouting report, where the ball might go. And Lopez pretty much had the tackle in the backfield until the quarterback Ferguson threw it away. Now another third down for the Tigers, who are 3 and 5 from third down.
Still at the 40, they need 3. Ferguson, quick outs to the flats, it's caught. First down, Caleb Smith. And when in doubt for the Tigers, they find number 22, who 2 weeks ago on the broadcast at San Diego State was referred to as Jerry Rice for his 6 receptions he had on 1 drive at the end of the second quarter. Was capped with his own touchdown.
Cato Jones on the stop. And Tigers moving right down the field. Once again, they had a stop in the second drive, but the third drive, they're moving down close to midfield.
Now at the 44-yard line, play action, another quick out to the far side. It's caught by Hamilton, the fullback, but only for a yard.
Quick hitter versus quick hitter versus quick hitter. You know, it's try to beat the defense on the right or left side. Soon there's going to be a pick. You could just sense. So someone's going to guess right, you know, on one of these throws to the right or to the left, and Stony Brook's going to get that pick.
A lot of times you'll see those quick hitters when a team is struggling to run, a pass that sort of works as a run, but neither of these teams are struggling to move the ball on the ground. 6:15 remaining second quarter in a 7-7 contest. Towson with their third drive of the game. Second down and 8 on their own 46-yard line. Chris Ferguson in the shotgun, tailback on his right hip, calling out the shots. He takes the snap, again, quick hitter near side, caught by Daniel Thompson the fourth. He's across the first down marker and inside the 40-yard line. Into Stony Brook territory. It's another quick hitter.
7th first down for the Tigers. Ambrose versus Priori. Grinded out team versus grinded out team. You have other teams in the league that like to just throw it out, you know, throw the ball for a lot of scores. These teams like to grind it out. Who's going to be around in the fourth quarter? That's what it's going to come down to.
Dare I even mention, no hankies yet in this one.
No.
The clock continues to tick, 5:30 to go. First down and 10 at the 40. Handoff Matthews. He trips at the line of scrimmage, aided by the appearance of Tyler King.
King gets the tackle.
Yeah, he gets it.
Doesn't say tripped on the grass in the stats, right? You don't put in parentheses tripped on the grass.
Something tells me if he didn't look up and see Tyler King, maybe he would have kept his feet.
Tackle made.
Tyler King, the redshirt freshman, and emerging really as not just one of the better freshman linebackers in the conference, but just one of the better linebackers in the conference.
Yeah, I think, you know, as much as people sort of criticize playing in the spring, Chuck Priori mentioned a couple of times that it sort of helped a lot of these young players because last year the veterans played a lot.
Second down and 9, Tigers to the line quickly. Stony Brook puts 7 in the box. Another handoff, Matthews. He's met by King. Demanch there to help. The offensive line for the Tigers doing their best to aid that pile forward. undoubtedly a third down forthcoming. Only question is how many yards necessary. Say 6, maybe 7.
Right, and you would think that this will be a pass. I don't know if the Tigers are going to run the ball with 5+ yards to get the first down. So the Seawolves know this, that a pass is coming, possibly.
Towson has been balanced so far. 56 yards on the ground, 52 through the air. They need 6 here on their own 36. 2 receivers on either side for Ferguson. He takes the snap, drops back to pass. Pressure comes, quick out, near side, it's caught. Caleb straight inside the 15-yard line before he's brought down. Tyler King makes the tackle for the 3rd straight play, but it doesn't stop Towson from entering the red zone.
Ferguson to Smith was solid. I mean, Ferguson, real good quarterback. Smith got right in that hole and knew exactly where Stony Brook wasn't going to be. Big first down there for the Tigers.
Well, the black and gold runs in the blood for Smith. His dad, Rodney, a Towson Hall of Famer, and was teammates with Rob Ambrose. When Ambrose was a Towson Tiger. Tailback on either side now for Ferguson. First time we've seen this look for the Tigers, and they're going to call timeout. I don't think Rob Ambrose liked what he saw.
I could just see Smith. Smith was probably a little guy running around here when his father played for Towson, learning the system.
Well, Caleb Smith, as a teenager playing football, had a really bad knee injury. In fact, needed to get a meniscus transplant. It required a cadaver. And a lot of college coaches weren't exactly ready to take on the risk of a Caleb Smith. Rodney Smith, his father, knows a guy or two, Rob Ambrose. One thing leads to another, and now the younger Smith is catching passes here at Towson.
Well, that's the benefit of being in the FCS. Sometimes when you try to go to an FCS school, and maybe Smith tried to go to Maryland or some FBS school, and they say, well, you're not big enough, there's not enough speed, or you got injured in high school. So just because you got injured in high school, we can't take the chance on you. But a school like Towson could take the chance because the talent is still there, but, the player had an injury. How many times have we seen players at the FCS have injuries, come back, and be really, really good players?
Well, Caleb Smith is certainly one of those really, really good players, and he's a New Yorker from Albany, and you'd have to think maybe there were other teams in the conference giving him a look, either other teams in New York or other teams from his hometown. Both teams back out onto the field with 3:20 remaining in the first half. Tigers 7, Seawolves 7, and a first down and 10 forthcoming for the 12.
132 yards of offense for the Tigers. Stony Brook with 108.
Neither team has really struggled on the offensive end. Motion man near side to far, Darian Street. Snap, handoff, right side, Howard Jr. Contact made behind the line, and he's wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Reggie DeManch and his friends make the stop, and the clock continues to tick with 3 minutes to go in what's been an absolutely breezy first half.
Tigers will try to run this clock out and either get a touchdown or a field goal, I would think. They're going to be very patient here, not going to rush. Why would you want to give the ball back to Stony Brook before the half?
Stony Brook still with all 3 timeouts, and Stony Brook gets the ball in the second half. Ferguson in the gun takes the snap. Scanning, flushed out of the pocket right. Still looking. Ferguson's going to tuck and run. Takes it out of bounds. Give him a 5, maybe 6-yard gain. It'll bring up third down. A first down is still available, but Towson's looking for the touchdown.
Yeah, nice smart play there by Ferguson. Another third down attempt. Already 12 attempts from third down. 7 attempts from third down for the Tigers, but they've completed 5 of them.
They need the 2 for a first down. The end line will give them a touchdown. Ferguson in the gun. Takes the snap, looking, throwing, end zone, brought in, touchdown. Oh, what a catch by Darian Street in the near corner of the end zone. Ferguson on target, and the Tigers go back in front.
back was to the ball, Johnny, and then all of a sudden he turned around like he knew the ball was coming. Obviously he knows the play, but he did like a spin move, caught the ball, and excellent play for the wide receiver.
Second touchdown of the season for Darian Street. At his second consecutive touchdown when playing Stony Brook. He was the Tigers' lead receiver 2 years ago when these teams met at Laval Stadium. He had 4 for 86 and a touchdown. Freshman kicker Keegan Vaughn is up and through. Towson 14, Stony Brook 7.
Good job by the Tigers after punting that last series to come right down the field and, without a hitch, just really score and take the 14-7 lead, Johnny.
And you described that catch by Darian Street very well, but it's that back shoulder throw. Ferguson has to make that throw before Street even knows that it's coming.
Yeah, and it was right there. Stony Brook, I think, knew too. What was coming. Were you going to try to? You're going to try to either get a penalty for pass interference, try to make the interceptions. I would have tried to make the interception there and try to catch the ball. At worst, it would have been a pass interference, and the ball would have been a couple yards at the 1 yard line. But good catch there by the wide receiver for the Tigers.
We told you earlier in the drive, Darian Street's older brother Devin had a 3-year NFL career, 5th-round draft pick by the Cowboys, and had his lone touchdown against the New York Giants. Those teams will meet tomorrow night.
150. Here we know situational football right now. 159 left. Seawolves need to at least get a field goal before the half, Johnny.
End over end boot winds up in the end zone. Stony Brook will take the touchback in the hands of Sean Harris Jr.
Now, typical Stony Brook is that they will not try to get the ball to Towson again this half. Chuck Berry does not want to give the ball back in Stony Brook's hands. So it's going to really be based on the first couple of plays. If they can get to midfield, I would say by the 1 minute mark, they may take a shot at it. If they're not at midfield by the 1 minute mark, they just may take the knee, Johnny.
Now this is the area of the game that Bill Belichick has mastered.
Right.
The 2-for-1. You score at the end of the half, and then get the ball to begin the next half and score as well. Stony Brook has all 3 timeouts. Set up shop at their own 25-yard line. Towson showing blitz. And now the Stony Brook offense looks back to the sideline. A potential audible in the mix here for Stony Brook, with Fields calling out the shots. Play clock at 5. Fields takes the snap. Stony Brook will run it with Tyson Lawton looking for the edge on the outside, and he's got it. First down and more, and smartly out of bounds at the 40.
Well, the Tigers were in that prevent defense, thinking what we thought about, would Stony Brook be serious about this run? They are serious about the run right now. The good thing is they got out of bounds, and the clock has stopped at 1:52.
Towson 14, Stony Brook 7. 1:52 remaining first half. Stony Brook first down on the 40-yard line. Looking to get into opponent territory and try to put some points on the board before halftime, before they get the ball back to start the second half. Fields in the gun. Looking to throw after a low snap. Fields fires over the middle. Hayek's got it. With an offender in his face, Hunter Hayek. Did he make the catch? It looked like it. And now the near side official says no. He waved it off.
You may get a review here by the Tigers. This is a controversial call. Either it was a catch or it was an interception. The Tigers bench was saying it's ours. Stony Brook was saying they had the catch. Both teams are headed back to the line of the first down line. Actually, the 40-yard line. So it probably was called incomplete, Johnny.
All the players now looking up at the video board at the south end of the end zone, where Hunter Hayek knows he made that catch. I mean, he is really pleading his case now to the Stony Brook coaching staff. And he is amped because this play is going to review. I don't know if I've seen a receiver so confident that this review is going to go in his way.
Well, we made the call on the catch. I'm going to go with initial eye look, and I'm going to say he had the ball, and then he lost it, and then Townsend picked it up. But then the player from the Tigers dropped it, so I think they're going to call it incomplete. But you don't know. They're reviewing it right now. That's my initial view. Stony Brook did have the catch. I think the receiver lost it. Tigers picked it up, but I'm not sure if the Tiger player completed the interception.
Not only is the ruling on the field stand, it's confirmed. Nice job, Bernie. Not good for Stony Brook, though, after Hayek seemingly made a great catch. And he did catch that ball. He never came to the ground with it, though. Must have lost it before he got down.
I would do it again. I'd do the same play again. Why not? It's 1:44 left. You need some field time.
Stony Brook looking for some field time. 2nd down and 10. Shotgun snap, whips it left, caught Newton, trudging the feet to the 50. Pushed out of bounds right at the first down marker. It's enough to move the chains. 1:38 to go in the first half.
Well, now you are serious about trying to put some points on the board. You got to midfield. There's plenty of time left. And what are the first down? The timeouts. Stony Brook has 3. So Chuck Priori has everything that he needs to try to get some type of score before the half.
Stony Brook has been able to throw the ball in this first half when needed. Hayek in motion. Handoff though to Lawton. Met in the backfield. Made the first man miss, but he'll only get back to the line of scrimmage at the 50. This would seem like a good time for Stony Brook to use one of their 3 timeouts. And it looks like they will, or will they? Clock stopped briefly with 1:28, and now it keeps ticking.
Too early in the series. They're going to wait until the 2nd or 3rd down. Not yet.
Newton, Helms Jr., Hayek, and Harris Jr. The 4 receiving options for Fields. Out of the gun, handles a low snap. Lawton protects him, throws to the near side. Harris Jr. has it at the 45, scampers out of bounds. After a 7-yard gain, 3rd down and 3 coming up.
Got out of bounds, as you mentioned, 58 seconds left. Still has the 3 timeouts, and they don't want to get to the field goal. They want a touchdown here. As we've seen in games prior, the field goal has not helped them, and Chuck Priori has not gone to the field goal. He's gone for it.
Tight end Damian Caffrey is checked into the game. He will complete the near side of the offensive line. Stony Brook has not utilized the tight ends at all in the passing game this season.
No.
Towson crowd to their feet for a 3rd and 5. Fields takes the snap. There's a flag. He throws on the run. Hayek can't make the play. It's batted up into the air and intercepted. It was off the hands of Hayek and into the hands of Robert, top the 3rd.
And that's why Chuck Priori likes to take the knee with a minute to go in the half within a touchdown because of situations like that, Johnny. Giving the ball back to the opponent with less than a minute to go. Now Towson has a chance.
We mentioned a flag on the play, and that flag is offsides. It's on the defense.
Oh, they caught a
erase
break.
the interception, Stony Brook. And you feel like maybe for the first time this season,
Right.
Stony Brook gets a break.
They caught a break. You would have thought that's why Chuck Priori doesn't like to go for a score with a minute to go. And now they caught a break. They get another lease on life right now to score. 45 seconds. Still 3 timeouts left.
Second life for Stony Brook with 45 seconds remaining in the first half. First down and 10 in opponent territory, now at the 39-yard line. Not quite field goal territory for Angelo Guglielmello, nor for Chuck Priori. 2 receivers on either side for Tykel. He handles a snap. Time dwindling, pressure coming. Fields goes down.
Could be a hold on Stony Brook.
Yeah, flag as well in the area of holding, as Fields is sacked on the play for the first time today. It is holding on the offense. That penalty will be declined. The tackle was made by Elam Lumor, another Rutgers transfer. And Bernie, you were talking about how the way that the rules are structured, you got guys who are 5th year, 6th year. Lumor is a 7th year senior.
You'd go to get 2 degrees that way.
A super duper
Double
senior.
degree.
On double secret probation. 40 seconds to go first half. Now 2nd down and 16 after the sack. Towson leading 14-7. And Stony Brook now has some work to do just to get into field goal range.
Yeah, I know that the Stony Brook may be saying, let's just go into the locker room, down a touchdown. You don't want to get a chance to, with time left, to give Towson the ball back. You've got to at least first get the first down, right, Johnny? 5-6 yards here. I think it's the first. If you don't get the first down, they just may go into the locker room if they don't get that first down. It's one of those touchy situations. Like you mentioned, out of field goal range, you've got to get at least to the 29-yard line to get that first down.
Ball placed on the 46-yard line with 40 seconds to play in this first half. Ball on the left hash. Fields with tailbacks on either side. Neither one will protect him, though. He's got time. Fires over the middle. Too much for Saban Niket.
Damn.
He was there down the middle, and Fields overshot him by just a little bit, or else it's a big gainer for Stony Brook.
I love Fields how he throws the ball. It's like that overhand / sidearm where it's deceiving. You don't know where it's going. It's a great throw. I like it. One more shot for the Seawolves to try to get to at least the 29.
That play only took 4 seconds off the clock. 36 ticks remain in this first half. 3rd down and 17 for Stony Brook. Could probably manage to find field goal range without picking up the first down. Fields has the snap, looking, scanning, tucks it, runs it, near side. Fields at the 40, across the 35, now to the sideline rather, on the near side. And that's exactly what Fields does. Maybe field goal range, but about a yard or two short of the first down. And now decision time for Chuck Priori and group with a 4th and short, 27 seconds remaining.
And the New Hampshire game did not go for the field goal, and he's not going for it now. As of now, he's not going for it. Maybe he's going to try to get a penalty against the Tigers first, but right now they're going for it.
I could always try to draw them off, then.
Still hasn't taken a timeout yet. Now they do. Now they do. And they're talking about what we just talked about. Not taking a field goal. Do we try to deceive the Tigers to get a penalty, to get more yardage, or just, go for it?
Well, if they were going to line up and try and draw it offsides and then kick, probably would have done it there and then called the timeout. Now you've only got 1 timeout left. 4th down and 3. Stony Brook at the 32-yard line. They need the 29. Should also keep in mind that Angelo Guglielmello is 0 for 2 in the field goal department this season. Both 30-plus yarders. This one would be from 49. And the offense is back out on the field.
Well, the kick was from 48 against New Hampshire, and they didn't go for it.
Crowd is on their feet at Johnny Unitas Stadium for a big 4th down and 3 with 27 seconds left. Trips receivers on the far side for Stony Brook.
Wow.
And early movements. It's on Stony Brook. Cameron Lucas, the redshirt senior. A costly 5-yard penalty.
Costly mistake. Now for Stony Brook. You got to still go for it. You got to try to get the first down, Johnny. 27 seconds left. There's still plenty of time. Unfortunately, it's just 5 yards longer. Same situation.
The good news for Stony Brook, that was their first penalty. The bad news, it's a critical one. 4th down and 8. Stony Brook needs the 39. Fields rolling left. Here comes the pressure. Fields has to get rid of it. He won't. He goes down. It's a big-time sack. And now Towson will begin their drive in opponent territory with 14 seconds remaining.
Well,
Christian Dixon, his 2nd sack of the season.
Johnny, the question once again is 48, 49 yarder. Did you just try to kick the field goal and get the 3 points going into the half? Seawolves decided not to do that again. In the CAA, points are tough to come by. Chuck Priori has a lot of confidence in his offense. And now Townsend's got a chance with 19 seconds left.
They've added 5 seconds on the clock. They start from the 48-yard line. Stony Brook's 48. Ferguson, tight spiral, near side, dropped inside the 30-yard line. It's a rare miscue by Darian Street, who had the touchdown earlier for Towson. And that's a miscue by the Stony Brook defense. There was no one within a 5-yard radius of him.
Yeah, you're just hoping directly that offsides call doesn't come back to bite Stony Brook. at the end of this half here. Hopefully the defense can make a stop and go into the locker room just down a touchdown.
3 receivers on the near side for Ferguson. But a 4-receiver set. Stony Brook showing pressure. They back off. They only send 3. Ferguson again to the same spot. This time it's caught by a sliding street at the 30. Same exact play, completely different result.
No timeouts. Quick offense here by the Tigers.
Tigers to the line. Clock at 10. And they down it with 8 seconds. So an extra second just ticked away. I think they're going to reset the clock.
And I just want to say, Johnny, we're not in practice. We don't go to practice. We don't see practice. So we don't know, how the kicking game is during practice. So we understand that we trust that Chuck Priori is going for it for a reason. He sees something in practice that gives him the benefit of going for it on 4th down.
6 seconds to play. Towson lines up for the field goal. It's a 48-yard attempt by Keegan Vaughn. He's 1 for 1 in his career. The true freshman is up and it is blocked. Stony Brook got a pair of hands on it. They pick it up at the 20. Stony Brook looking to move. It's Tyler King. There may be room to the far sideline. King picks up blockers. King at the 45-40. King is dump trucked inside the 40. It's a touchdown saving tackle by Towson.
Love this game of football. You never know. You never know.
Whoa.
You never know.
And to add on to that, it looked like King fumbled that ball as he got tackled. It made no difference. My goodness. What an end to half number 1. Stony Brook blocks the 48-yard field goal attempt, and Tyler King takes it about half the way necessary. And for a while, Jeff, it looked like he was going to the house.
And this is why Chuck Priori likes to just pretty much shut it down when it was 14-7 going to the locker room, because of all the craziness we saw in the last 2 minutes. There were so many plays in the last 2 minutes. Chuck Priori likes to limit the amount of opponent touches, and there was plenty of them in the last 2 minutes. So luckily for the Seawolves, they missed the field goal, Tigers, and it's only a 1-score deficit.
Chuck Priori said midweek you need 28 points in the CAA to win most Saturdays. I don't know if either team's going to get there today, but at halftime, it's Towson 14, Stony Brook 7. Johnny Unitas Stadium, the site, Stony Brook trailing Towson 14-7. We're just a few minutes away from kickoff here in half number 2. Joined by Jeff Bernstein and Athletic Director Sean Hilbrun. I'm Johnny Wincott. Sean, you've been to many of these road games. Your evaluation of the first 30 minutes or so.
Well, Johnny, it's really been interesting. The first quarter was 2 drives. 1 long drive from Towson, 1 long drive for us, and they got the touchdown. We needed to get a 3rd down stop, and that's obviously going to be the key. And I think we're good. Guys were fired up. Guys are focused. I was down the sideline. We just have to hang in there, and I'd like to see us get a takeaway. Score on this first drive because we get the ball here, and then get a takeaway, and then we'll be good.
With the amount of Stony Brook sports that you attend and watch, it must be like some sort of roller coaster of a graph when it comes to your emotions.
Well, if you had a EKG going, it would be maybe dead by now. It's you live and die by it because you want so much for these kids to have success, and you see them every day. You see how hard they work, and truly, this is a passion for all of us, and so you definitely it's not necessarily healthy for the heart.
We're nearing the halfway mark in football season. Just around the corner, though, men's and women's basketball. I guess I'll start you off with the layup. Just how excited are you to get those 2 seasons underway?
Gosh, when you're just mentioning the word basketball, it gets me fired up. I mean, I think with Ashley Langford, heading up our women's program, just the energy, the intensity in practices, the talent is off the charts, and really the men, I cannot wait for our fans to see our men. Obviously, we know about Elijah Olani back. He looks great, but Jaleel Jenkins, Anthony Roberts, the 2 other high-impact transfers, we look really, really good. I think we're going to win a lot of games. It's going to be a lot of fun in Island Federal this year.
Sean, 2 big weekends coming up for Stony Brook in football. You got Delaware, then homecoming. Fans are back in the stands. It's a big homecoming weekend. You got the President's induction. You also have Hall of Fame. Didn't get to have it in 20. Now we have in 20 and 21. Could be one of the biggest Hall of Fame ceremonies that Stony Brook has had. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, we have a big class coming in, and I obviously did not get to have the induction ceremony last year. Incredible group of inductees going in. we finally get to celebrate them in person, and looking forward to it. And we added Coach Joe Castigli and William Carmona from the baseball team, and just the people that are going in are Stony Brook royalty. So we're really excited to celebrate them.
Yeah, it's also, we've had football games, we've had men's soccer, women's soccer, and now to have indoor events coming with basketball will be that next step in moving forward.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Right now we're full go, working with campus. You're seeing a lot of things that other pro teams are doing and what we're doing, and we're just excited to be back with our fans. It's going to be a great year, and looking forward to it.
We've got about 1+ minute until kickoff, so we know you're busy. We'll let you get back and hunker down to wherever it is you're watching this one. We'll see you after, maybe for a win.
Sounds good, Johnny. Let's get this one. Jeff, you too. Appreciate you guys, and let's get this one.
Stony Brook Athletic Director Sean Hilbrun, as we near the start of half number 2. Joined alongside Jeff Bernstein. I'm Jonny Wincott as we get you set. Stony Brook will receive here to start half number 2. We said they were looking for the old Bill Belichick special, the 2-for-1, score at the end of the half and score at the beginning of the next half. Unable to do it, but looking for a little bit of a better start here in the second half.
Yeah, we talked about both teams came down the field, scored, came down the field, scored. The one time Towson had a punt. But there needs to be a little bit of a change. I'm sure the coaches have made some changes in the locker room about what they need to do. But we've said this before the game has started. Both teams are pretty similar, and we're going to see in the second half who the better team is.
Not easy to make us look smart, but the numbers support it. Just about even in most categories. Total yards, pass and rushing yards. I mean, these teams did everything pretty similarly in that first half. Only one penalty, Jeff, for each team. Very disciplined first half, but the lone Stony Brook penalty, a critical one.
Yeah, and luckily it didn't hurt Stony Brook because they got a blocked field goal attempt, so it's a wash there. But you're right, less mistakes is good. As Stony Brook only down one touchdown, they get the ball back here. They get a chance to tie the game right away.
I'm not sure if we ever had a chance to touch on that field goal block because we went into the halftime break. Randy Pringle is the one who's credited with the block. And for a while there, it looked like Tyler King had some blockers and might take it the distance.
Right, and you never know. And we talked about the teams before the game has started and the complexity of this game. James Madison lost today against Villanova, so it's still wide open.
End over end kick taken by Harris at the far sideline. Outside the numbers, he jets all the way to the 30-yard line. And a late flag flies in the area of the tackle. And Sean Harris Jr., who has seen some struggles in the kickoff return game, fumbled the opening kickoff return and hopped back on it. We're going to listen into the penalty. So just as we note, just one penalty for Stony Brook in the first 30 minutes. They'll take their first one here in the first 5 minutes of half number 2.
Got a little too aggressive with the push in the back, and now the Seawolves have to start off on the 19-yard line.
Tykel Fields in half number 1, 8 for 13, 82 yards. He only completed 9 passes last week, and we talked about Stony Brook passing game looked significantly better in the first half, especially on that opening drive. Helm Jr., the man in motion, and Stony Brook starts from the 15, and the pass from Fields deflected by Kevon Bruton, the captain of the linebackers, looking for Khalil Newton.
In that first half, both teams were good at the quick hitters on the right side or the left side, and once again, Fields trying to get a completion on the left side. Eight
completions to 4 different Seawolves in the first 30 minutes. Sean Harris Jr. leading the way with 3 receptions. Second down and 10. Stony still on their own 15-yard line. Just 8 seconds into half number 2. Both Towson and Stony Brook in search of win number 2. Fields looking to the near side. Had Lawton, but it was low and at his feet. Incomplete. And a quick 3rd down and 10 coming up for Stony Brook.
Ball to Lawton was thrown at his legs while he was running from sideline to sideline. So a little bit of a tough throw there.
Lawton had 8 for 38 in that first half. Was active on that first drive. Didn't see a whole lot of him after that in the first half. Been banged up this year despite being the Colonials' leading rusher. and provided Stony Brook with their lone touchdown, his 5th of the season. Stony Brook needs the 25-yard line. 2 receivers on either side for Fields. Handles a low snap. Pressure coming. Fields steps up. He's going to take off and run. Tucks down the middle. Spins and has the first down out to the 28-yard line. Stony Brook needed 10, and Ty Kell gave him 14.
That's one of the benefits of Fields. He flushes out the defense, and he rolls around them and gets first down yardage for Stony Brook.
Well, we noted when these teams met in 2019, while Ty Kell did throw 3 interceptions, he ran for 77 yards, threw 2 touchdowns. Of course, aided by Nick Anderson's 8-reception, 205-yard day. Delonte Helms Jr., the motion man, the handoff though to Lawton, and there is room up the middle. He plunges across the 35 and out to the 37. It's a 9-yard gain on first down.
Good job by Kyle Nunez in the offensive line creating the hole. Now the Seawolves feel better about themselves, getting close to midfield.
All starts in the trenches, and Stony Brook has some good ones on the offensive side. All upperclassmen. Only allowed 2 sacks last week, and Chuck Priori has talked about that at length, the importance of keeping Ty Kell Fields on his feet. 2nd down and 1 from the 37. 13:35 to go, third quarter. Quick handoff, Lawton. All he needed to do was move forwards. He did, and that'll move the chains. 14-7, Towson leading Stony Brook a minute and a half into the first half, second half.
That's the 13th first down of the game for Stony Brook. Key is for Stony Brook. Got to tie the game first. And then you're starting on 0-0 again. So first thing is got to get that tie-breaking score.
Saban Niket will spell Tyson Lawton on this first down. After all heads on a swivel to pick up the play call, Stony Brook ready. On the snap, Niket up the middle, across the 40-yard line. Jumps forward. It's a 2-yard gain for Stony Brook's veteran tailback. As noted, nearing his career 1,000-yard mark, right now at 925. Balanced attack so far for Stony Brook, waiting for a 2nd down and 7. Still in their own territory at the 42-yard line. 82 yards through the air for Stony Brook, 76 on the ground. For a team that historically has leaned heavily on ground and pound. 2nd down and 7. Fields has time. Whips to the near sideline. Newton's got it across the 50. Enough for the first down. He steps out of bounds in opponent territory. And the chains continue to move for Stony Brook.
Nice pass there to Winfrey on the left side. Get to midfield. Stony Brook trying to mix it up. Keep the Tigers on their feet.
Jonny Unitas Stadium about as quiet as it's been. Sean Harris Jr., lone receiver, on the far side for Fields. Handoff Niket, sweeping near side to far, tried to jump back across the line of scrimmage. And he's met there by 3, maybe 4 defensive linemen. No gain on the play.
Well, we said that before the game that the Tigers weren't great against the run. They are today. They're doing a nice job, but deceiving because they played some great teams.
And we noted earlier, that's pretty much what Chuck Priori said in the CAA teleconference. Tough to look at the numbers given the opponents that they've played. Not to mention a small sample size. 2nd down and 9. And again, all heads on swivels for the Stony Brook offense.
I mean, Lawton has done a nice job, 49 yards in the first half.
Play fake to Lawton. Fields will go to Niket. Wide open in the flats. He's got the first down to the 35. Fourth first down of the drive. This one takes Stony Brook down to the 35-yard line.
Good creativity by Stony Brook to get that first down with the rollout. And that is the 15th first down for Stony Brook.
First down at 10, now at the 36. Same formation for Stony Brook, with a tailback on either side of Fields. Lawton on the left, Neckett on the right. 6 on the line for the Tigers. They may bring it. Handoff Lawton. He'll go up the middle, and another healthy gain. Gets about half the yards necessary for Stony Brook. and it just makes the game so much easier when you get 5, 6, 7 yards on first down.
Yeah, Lawton is so elusive. You know, he can scamper between the holes. And, you know, Townsend knew that coming into the game, that Lawton is legit. So they've got to try to, you know, keep him from the big run. I think that's what their goal is, to stop Lawton from the big run, keep him at 4 or 5 yards a play, and go from there.
I hope you started him again in your FCS Fantasy League. 11 for 54 and a touchdown. Hunter Hayek, the motion man, near side to far. Play fake, Fields rolls, throws to Hayek, who has the catch at the first down marker. This one will count for Hunter, and it will move the chains for the 5th time on this drive, as Stony Brook nears the red zone with 9:35 remaining in this third quarter.
Just another option for Stony Brook. And Hayek doing a nice job. He had a couple missed catches in the first half. And the Salas Seawolves are getting close to the red zone.
Stony Brook with some pace, already at the line. And again, that's typically how they've played it this year. Get to the line quickly, check out the defense, and then go to the coaching staff. 11
catches so far for Stony Brook with all the receivers.
Maybe another one here. Fields to the outside. Dangerous pass intended for Helms Jr. Mark Collins Jr. in coverage. 2nd down and 10.
Great coverage. Great coverage right on the back of the Stony Brook receiver.
Most of these defenders for the Towson Tigers should not look or sound familiar to Stony Brook fans. We told you only 3 starters back from 2019, and 8 of their 11 starters are transfers. 2nd down and 10 from the 24. Fields rolls left. Pressure coming, still scanning. Fields lost it. Either an incomplete pass, it is. Fields lost the ball when he was cocking back to throw. And lucky for Stony Brook, it wasn't picked or there was no fumble.
He was actually looking in the end zone, and like he lost the ball while throwing it. Fortunately, Stony Brook got the ball back, and it's 3rd down. It's hard to throw a ball on a run, Johnny. It's not easy. It's not an easy skill.
Stony Brook again finds themselves in that gray area where they're not quite in field goal range. And they're going to need a bit of help in order to get the first down. Saw this at the end of the first half. 3rd down and 20. Crowd on their feet. Stony Brook's going to run. Tyson Lawton will only get 1, maybe 2 of those yards back. And at the moment, it would set up about a 49, 50-yard field goal.
Another one of those 48, 49-yard possible attempts, or go for it. We've been in that situation many times throughout the season. And it looks like that they will go for punt. They're going to punt.
Well, in the same regard, with the way that Mitchell Wright has punted, tough not to give the ball to the Australian. Last week, 7 punts, 3 of them downed inside the 20. And at a season-best 58-yarder. This one will all come inside opponent territory. Snap good. Right at the 45-yard line, end-over-end punt into the near corner. Diego Hunter makes the fair catch and has the call at the 5. So a good punt by Mitchell Wright. Not the best result for the Stony Brook offense, hoping to emerge with some points. And now it's an opportunity for Towson to provide some insurance.
Pin Townsend back and let the defense work. Let the defense work and go from there. You know, Chuck Priori is being consistent in his coaching philosophy. He's always wanted to pin a team back and let the defense work. Unfortunately, Townsend has done a nice job moving the ball down the field. You know, Stony Brook just does not want to kick the field goal this year. They just do not.
This is the worst starting field position of the evening for Towson. It's at their own 6. Handoff to Jerry Howard Jr. Tries to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and he's met by almost the entire Stony Brook defense. Carthel Flowers Lloyd is leading the charge. Maybe a yard on the play, if that. 2nd down coming up. 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Still 14-7 Towson.
Still early, but eventually you're going to have to put up some points. You're only scored 7 points. You know, if Towson scores another one here, it's going to feel like 30 points, you know, a two-score game. So,
we told you midweek, Chuck Priori's quote, you need 28 points in the CAA to win most Saturdays.
Fair.
in the end zone, dropping back to pass Ferguson. Zipped over the middle, caught. Tyler King immediately there to meet the pass catcher. Short of the first down marker, that was Caleb Street. It's a 9+ yard gain and a third down and short coming up with the clock ticking, 6:25 to go third quarter.
A little quick offense now for the Tigers.
Ferguson in the shotgun, takes the snap, handoff Howard Jr., met immediately but falls forward, and it's enough for the first down. Of course, Carthel Flowers Lloyd first in the backfield to trip up the Georgia Tech transfer.
11th first down for the Tigers. Ferguson 13 of 17, 114, a touchdown, and a 152 passer rating.
Stony Brook has outgained Towson today, not by much. It's been a pretty dang even ball game. Ferguson takes a low snap, looking right, throws it straight. It's a 5-yard gain to the 24-yard line. That's his trusty receiver, Caleb Smith, the leading receiver who entered today with 811 career yards. Maybe by the end of this one, he'll be at 900.
This is why I fear when you play teams who have the bye. You get healthy and you watch double the amount of film, and you can see all the passes that Tigers have thrown have been all the holes. So unless Stony Brook changes their defense, the Tigers know where the holes are.
Ferguson now 14 for 18. He takes the snap, looking, time, throws low over the middle, incomplete. Wanted Jerry Howard Jr. Low throw and off the running back's hands. It brings up third down and short.
King involved again in the mix. He's in the mix on every play. He's definitely going to be an all-conference player before it's said and done.
Chuck Priori said he loves how this guy practices. Not surprising what he does in the games based on how he practices. And they could use a big stop here from Tyler King or from anybody on the Stony Brook defense. Third down and 2. Towson on their own 25-yard line. The clock is stopped, 5:07 remaining. Interesting looking formation, shotgun, tailback behind Ferguson. Takes a snap, looking near side, leaping grab. It's a catch at the 40. Jabari Allen. He went up in a one-on-one against DeJohn Owens and came down with a pigskin. It's yet another third down conversion for Towson.
Yeah, not sure really what Owens was doing. He sort of stopped playing and didn't see the ball. But going back to King, if you have a last name King, you better be a good player. I don't know many players that I've seen that last name King that aren't good players, right? Bernard King, dating myself.
Handoff Howard on first down. Powers ahead for 3. Who's there for the tackle? Tyler, not Queen or Jack. It's King.
I mean, I call many Stony Brook athletes legends. King is already a legend in Stony Brook football history.
Tyler is King.
Yes, he's definitely a legend. He's a lot of those great defensive players that Stony Brook has had, and Tyler King is living up to the bill.
Second down and 6 from the 45-yard line after the 4-yard scamper by Howard.
To taking over for another legend, Augie Contreras. Augie was the best.
Reggie to match the veteran presence there for Stony Brook. Second and 6, Hunter on the sweep. Hunter gets the outside, Hunter has the edge, and Hunter has the first down before being knocked out of bounds. We told you the versatility of Diego Hunter. You will see him in multiple capacities for Towson. That is his third tote, and it gives him a first down.
You notice a lot of flying bodies on the edge there. That they're trying to get an advantage around the edge and just bodies flying against each other. But the Tigers are getting enough yards to get that first down, and now the 13th first down for them.
Under 4 minutes to play now in the third quarter. Still 14-7 Tigers. Neither team has scored here in quarter number 3. Ferguson hit as he throws. Ball up in the air, incomplete. He threw a dart over the middle and wanted Daniel Thompson IV, who was there, and the ball hit him in the hands. But he took a big lick, and that allowed the ball to flutter up in the air momentarily. Just an incomplete pass and allowed first down.
Yeah, thank God the Tigers didn't get an interception there. That ball was high, as you mentioned, and the receiver just had it touch the ball so Stony Brook wouldn't intercept it. Seawolves need some type of defensive stop. They need that stop. Remember, they're down by 7 here.
Single back formation, 3 receivers on the near side, and they'll hand it off to Howard Jr. with room across the 40. Howard Jr. was trying to drag a tackler. That was Khalid Kato Jacobs. He won't get the first down, and that's a nice tackle by number 22 in white. Or else a first down and a whole lot more than that.
If you notice, teams like Towson could just physically grind for 4 or 5 yards every play. And that's just going to dictate the tempo. That's just going to take them down to a potential score. And now a big third down for the Stony Brook defense. Towson will attempt the field goal, so they're trying to just at least get a first down or field goal range.
3rd down and 3 on the Stony Brook 38-yard line. Ferguson gives to Matthews. Matthews has a lot of room. The first down and more across the 30 and to the 25-yard line, dragged down on the near side.
It was a foot race with the runner and Jordan Jackson, and Towson gets the key first down as we come close to the end of the third already.
Jordan Jackson, the older brother of Stony Brook freshman defensive lineman Jaden Jackson. And Towson has had their way with the Stony Brook defense on 3rd downs.
Is that part of the 2 of the Stony Brook Jackson 5?
Are there 3 more?
I don't think. Could be. You never know. You never know. 2's better than 5.
2:30 to go in this 3rd quarter. A speedy contest so far. First down from the 24-yard line. They stay on the ground with Matthews. He's across the 20 this time. And tackled by Khalik Cato Jacobs. And Towson, a team not known for their rush attack. They had 15 rushing yards in their last game at San Diego State. Has done all sorts of groundwork today against Stony Brook.
You're looking at both teams are pretty similar. I mean, both teams are pretty much, coming down the field, making good plays, physically the same. Stony Brook, if they want to win this game, they've got to get a stop. They've got to get a stop here. They cannot let Tigers get another score.
Handoff again to Matthews on 2nd down and 5. First down and more across the 10 and stumbles all the way down to the 5.
And that run, Johnny, was at least 10 yards being untouched before he was tackled. That's not a good sign right there. That's
been the methodology today for Rob Ambrose's coaching staff. When Devin Matthews is in the game, give him the ball and let him go north-south.
Yeah, you can see the defense a little tired right now, which is not a good sign. And anytime a runner goes for 10 yards being untouched, Stony Brook has to regroup.
Towson now over 100 yards on the ground. Matthews remains in there. It's a play fake. Wide open. Far corner of the end zone. Pass is caught. Touchdown. Jabari Allen. 20-7 Tigers.
Yeah, Ferguson could have had it. There were 2 players that were open on the play. They went with the far receiver deep. And the Seawolves defense looks tired, Johnny.
Yeah, for a moment there, it looked like he was going to throw to the fullback, Luke Hamilton, who squirted out into the flats. He was also wide open. Keegan Vaughn is on to dot the I in this currently 20-7 contest, 1:08 remaining. Snap good. Hold there as well. It's blocked, and did it go through? It did.
Wow.
Stony Brook got maybe 2 hands on it, and that couldn't have been 5 feet over the bottom bar, but it all counts the same 21-7 your score with 1:08 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Seawolves not catching a break, except for that penalty. Now Stony Brook down by 2 scores with literally just a quarter to go, a minute left in the 3rd, but you got to make some adjustments, especially on the defensive end, because Towson's just going to keep doing what they're doing.
The opportunity was there for Stony Brook. They blocked a field goal going into halftime, and they were getting the ball coming out of halftime. Just didn't do anything with it. In fact, made it into opponent territory, and then shot themselves in the foot a few times, backed up, and had to punt instead of kick a field goal or potentially pick up 6. And that leads to the 94-yard touchdown drive by the Tigers.
Usually what does happen in this type of situation we've seen in the past is they may now use Tykewell Fields more in the offense. More of the wildcat, more of a scout, more of a runner, because they need points. They need points. They're 2 scores down, and they need points. And if they're not going to throw that ball long for Sean Harris Jr. or somebody else, then it's going to be up to Fields to scamper and move move that defense around, because right now they've got to at least hold. They can't let Townsend score another point the rest of this game, in my opinion. They need and then they need 2 more scores. So the pressure is definitely against Stony Brook at this point.
Well, like we said, Chuck said 28 points wins it for you. So 1 more touchdown for the Tigers might do it. Stony Brook moving from right to left here at Johnny Unitas Stadium, at least for the next 68 seconds before we switch sides. Ball is teed up for Shane McDonough. The transfer from Marshall. McDonough to the ball, big boot, end over end, into the end zone, and Stony Brook will accept the touchback. Tykill Field & Company will set up shop at the 25-yard line. They'll need to go 75 yards, and, well, there's 1:08 remaining in the third quarter.
You know, Johnny, everyone's talking on the FBS level, you know, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the different... I'll tell you what, I was watching Cincinnati last night. Cincinnati may be one of those non-traditional powers that may put a mix into the whole thing. Cincinnati looking really good this year.
Maybe not Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia.
Right. You know, people think, Cincinnati, you don't play big time. They're good. I mean, they're really good. So maybe it's good to see maybe a non-traditional power get into the mix. Just to diverge a little, but, always good to see they always see Clemson or Alabama, like you said, Georgia, those teams. But good to see a new team into the mix.
1 minute and 8 seconds to go, third quarter. Towson 21, Stony Brook 7. Glad you're with us on WUSB 90.1 FM. He's Jeff Bernstein. I'm Jonny Wincott. If you joined us to begin this second half, you heard from Stony Brook Athletic Director Sean Hilbrun, who stopped by our, we'll call it a 5th floor perch at the 50-yard line here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. And thank you to the folks at Towson University for helping get this all set up. The Tigers are fresh off of a 14-play, 94-yard drive, and they took 6 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock. Their first touchdown drive, all 3 of their touchdown drives have taken at least 6 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock. They've been methodical. Seawolves offense out onto the field. Ball placed on the right hash, 25-yard line. Stony Brook ready to go, just waiting for the officials okay. We're in a television timeout.
Those damn TV timeouts. We don't know anything about TV,
Not
right?
a thing. I just describe what I see. Fields in the gun. Lawton on his left hip takes the snap. He's got plenty of time. Fields uncorks deep down the middle. Has a man. Sean Harris Jr. makes a sliding catch.
Well, that's what we talked about.
At the 20-yard line, and Stony Brook, just like that, is into the red zone. If Harris doesn't have to dive to make that catch, it's a Stony Brook touchdown. Maybe nitpicky.
We talked about a change that Stony Brook needed to make. What they were doing was right now was Townsend was making, they need a big play. And the big-time players are Harris Jr. and Fields, and those are big-time players. They did it against Oregon, and right now they made a nice first down play.
First down and 10 for the 25. Fields nearly intercepted, instead has Harris in the flats. He got the snap and immediately whipped it to the far sideline, regardless of who was in the vicinity. Harris made the catch, bursted ahead for 5. And now second down and short. 30 seconds remaining in this third quarter. Still 21-7, Towson over Stony Brook.
You got to finish it up here. As great as a play as it was, you've got to score 7 points now.
Back-to-back pass and catch for the Archbishop Stepanak connection. Fields and Sean Harris Jr. Snap, handoff up the middle. Tyson Lawton following his blockers across the 15-yard line, and that's what he needed for the first. So give Stony Brook another first down, and that should end this third quarter. Well, the only touchdown of the third is owned by Towson, and they take a 21-7 lead into the fourth quarter here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Stony Brook, when we come back, first down and 10 on the 14-yard line for now. We go up to Long Island inside the WUSB studios with Matt Mankiewicz.
And thank you very much, guys. Let's get you up to date on CAA action. And William & Mary has just scored. So with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they've extended their lead over Albany at home 31-21. Finals in the books. Elon beat Maine 33-23 on the road. Rhode Island now 3-0 in the CAA, 5-0 overall. They beat Delaware at home 22-15. And Villanova, they want Beast first place too. They're 2-0 in the CAA, having beaten James Madison on the road 28-27. Taking a look at Major League Baseball very quickly. We were in the middle of the third. Braves lead the Brewers 2-0 in Game 2 of that division series. Milwaukee won the opener. And the Dodgers and the Giants will follow. Giants won last night to open up that series. Let's send it back to Towson.
Thank you very much, Matt. We're getting you set for the start of quarter number 4. Jonny Unitas Stadium here at Towson University, where the Tigers lead the Seawolves 21-7, but Stony Brook threatening. First down and 10 inside Towson territory at the 14-yard line.
Fans getting into it, looking for a stop here. Townsend, part of the CAA in all sports, basketball.
Stony Brook has never led today. That comeback gets a little steeper with the touchdown in the third by the Tigers. We're ready to go here in the fourth. Fields under center, takes the snap, handoff, Lawton met immediately. He goes backwards 6 yards. And almost the entire defensive line was involved. And the first play of the fourth quarter is a negative one for Stony Brook.
It almost looked like Stony Brook was telling Townsend what the play was. I mean, that's how easy it was for the Tigers to get the stop. Still, Stony Brook still in the red zone. No worries right now. Seawolves looking to get closer.
Second down and 14. Fields takes the snap, throws over the middle, ball up in the air, intercepted. Mark Collins Jr.
And the official is saying it was incomplete.
Ball was intended for Khalil Newton, hit him in the hands, up in the air, and it was actually Ubaid Steed with the interception. But the call on the field now is incomplete.
Coach Ambrose really pointing at some of the officials. I'm not sure if they're going to review this or Coach Ambrose is going to challenge.
Important to note that the call on the field is incomplete,
right.
So even if they were to review, they would need conclusive evidence to show and confirm that it's an interception. Ubaid Steed is pleading his case right now, both to the sideline and to the officials, to take a look at this. And as of right now, Stony Brook to the line, 3rd and 14 from the 18-yard line. We're going to play on. Shotgun set. Fields takes the snap, looking left, throws left, end zone, leaping over the air.
That ball was too high. Got a chance for the defender to get involved with the play. And now, if you're Stony Brook, you've got to not try for the field goal, and you got to go for the 7.
Well, as you say that, Bernie, here comes Angelo Guglielmello.
Yeah, well.
So the offense is off the field. And here comes the kicker for Stony Brook, who has not made a field goal this season. He's 1 for 5 in his career.
Well, you got to get the 3 now.
This one will be a 36-yarder for Guglielmello. Right the holder. Snap good, hold good, kick, end over end, towards the goalpost. This one is no good. He pulled it left.
Well, now we understand why that Chuck Priori does not like his field goal game. A short field goal, pretty much an extended chip shot, you couldn't even get. And now you've basically given the ball back to Townsend with a 2-score lead.
Guglielmello now 0 for 3 this season. All right, in the NFL, that's essentially an extra point.
The other thing, too, is now if you go for it now, you're okay with that call because you're 2 scores down. You know, when you're you have a chance to get the lead or get closer to kick a field goal and you don't, it's a little confusing.
Right, the scenario earlier, Stony Brook down 14-7. First half, had an opportunity to go for 3 points if they wanted to.
Right.
Instead went for it, didn't get it. So now Towson on first down. Handoff Jerry Howard Jr. He'll navigate to the original line of scrimmage, maybe an extra yard. Now at the 21-yard line. And with 14 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, Tigers sitting pretty, a 21-7 lead.
And the Tigers are just basically going to eat clock and put the knockout blow. And as you mentioned, Chuck Priori hit it on the head. 28 points wins the game. The knockout blow would be 28 points. And the Tigers are going to just take their time doing it. Now, so the Seals, you need to stop and get that ball back. Get 2 scores down.
Second down and 9. Ferguson, quick outs near side, caught again by Street. Not nearly enough for the first down, just a minimal gain as if it was a running play up the middle. Dejon Owens there to make the quick tackle. Only a 3-yard gain and another third down. There have been many of them today for this Towson offense and thereby Stony Brook defense. 9 for 12. They put themselves in situations to convert on third down. This is one of the longer ones, 6 yards needed. Ferguson to the gun, takes the snap. 3-step drop, pressure coming. Ferguson out of the pocket, throws off his right foot, caught across the middle, but not enough for the first down. And Owens again there to make the tackle. He ran near side of the field all the way to the far side, numbers, to make the stop and bring up fourth down.
Good job by the Stony Brook defense. Now the clock is your enemy, not so much as Townsend. The clock continues to run. You got to get that ball back, and you got to score with 12 minutes to go.
Saban Niket back to return on the Stony Brook 35-yard line. Punter is Shane McDonough. He's all the way back to his own 10. Stony Brook could use some good field position here. McDonough receives the snap. High, tight spiraling kick, and it's a good one. Niket calls for the fair catch, and it bounces into the 10, down to the 5, and out of bounds at the 1. You could not ask for a better punt from Shane McDonough. That ball was booted on his own 15, went out of bounds inside the 2 on the other side of the field. And Stony Brook has a big old hill to climb with 12:04 remaining in the fourth.
Definitely took a Townsend bounce, to say the least. You couldn't. Neca did the right thing, letting it go. There's no way you were going to try to get the ball. You would have been tackled. You would have been tackled within the 10-yard line anyway, unless you made an incredible move. But just unfortunate luck right there. That's what you call an unforced error or whatever, unforced kick, whatever. You know, you try that kick 10 more times, it doesn't happen that way, right, Johnny?
The kick was so good, it looked like a throw. The spiral that was on that kick.
Right.
And these are 2 of the best punters in the conference. Shane McDonough for Towson and Mitchell Wright for Stony Brook. And, well, we haven't seen maybe as much of them as some people may have expected today. But it's a 21-7 contest with both teams in their respective huddles. Stony Brook needs a score, and not just 3.
And Townsend knows that. So how has Stony Brook done that? You know, they've done that with the big play. You know, and Townsend's going to know that it's going to be Fields or Harris or Lawson. Those are the 3 guys that are going to be a factor in a big play right now. So a lot of pressure on Stony Brook. I mean, you're deep. You're on the 2-yard line. You've got to at least start to get the first down after first down and get a score. So at least make this interesting.
That punt, Jeff Bernstein, went for 72 yards.
I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I'm sure that's got to be in the top 10 in the country right now.
Mitchell Wright had a 58-yard punt last week, and that seemed epic.
Yeah, just unbelievable. I mean, that's a clinic right there, right?
Stony Brook now, if the sun was out, would be in the shadow of their own goalpost.
Got to make the smart play here. You don't want a safety right now.
Fields in the gun, looking to throw. He will. Uncorks, far sideline. Too much. Sean Harris Jr., the intended target at the 40. And he was well covered by the redshirt senior Brandon Schumann.
I mean, Townsend knows that it's just going to be one-on-one play. What else do you do, Johnny, at this point? I mean, you know that you've really, the clock, I said, is against you. You got to get the first down first. Don't worry about the home run play yet, because you got to get yourself out of the end zone. You know, so get the first down, which is what, the 12-yard line. You've got to get there first, and then, breathe a little.
11:58 remaining, fourth quarter. Stony Brook hands off to Tyson Lawton. That will give them some breathing room up the middle. He lost the football, though, at the end of the play. He picked up the first down.
Well, his knees were down anyway.
Rolling on the field is a fumble.
I think Townsend knows it was they didn't get it.
And now, the crowd was on their feet, and now the officials have gotten together, pointed in the direction of the Stony Brook offense.
Thankfully.
Crisis averted for Stony Brook for the moment.
Oh, no.
And the previous play is under further review.
They're showing it on the video monitor. Oh, no. It looks like Lord may have lost the ball before his knees were down.
And
now,
if he
hopefully
did,
my eyes are no good, but I'm just looking at it initially, looking at it. People who are at home or are watching the video as well, they've seen it, but I just look at the initial video, and hopefully the knee went down, because I initially saw on the monitor that the ball went out.
We're going to take another peek at it on the monitor and I guess do our best for you. Lawton with a spectacular run, about 12 yards right up the gut down the seam. And as he's going down, that ball's out.
Yeah.
That ball is out. I'd be surprised if it's not a fumble.
Unless his knee is bigger than we thought and he's down, but that would definitely be a back blow.
And I was ready to tell you, Towson Lawton looked so good in that first drive and has looked so good this season.
Oh, yeah.
There were points in this game where you wonder, hey, where is Towson Lawton? And now in the fourth quarter, with a critical drive for Stony Brook, again, the call on the field is Stony Brook Football. They'll need some clear evidence to reverse that call, but I think we've seen that clear evidence.
They've definitely taken the personality of not being good against the run. Well, scrap that for the next game for them, because Stony Brook's only run for 74 yards. Lawton's done all right at 68, but Fields, who's the next best runner, only has 9 yards. When was the last time Tyquell Fields has 9 yards running in a game?
So it's confirmed. It is a Towson Lawton fumble. And the Towson Tigers will set up shop inside the red zone on Stony Brook's 14-yard line with 11:36 remaining and a chance at some more insurance in this 21-7 game. While we have a moment, we should note, hard at work back at Stony Brook, Cameron Boone laying all the best stats for you. That 72-yard punt tied for the 6th longest punt in FCS this season.
Thank you, Cam. Cam's the best.
We've got a great R&D department. 2 tailbacks for Ferguson. Doesn't hand to either of them. Rolling right, scanning, all day to throw. Ferguson finally does into the flats and off his intended target. Out of bounds on the far sideline. He was looking for Daniel Thompson, the 4th.
That was, by the way, 2 fumbles today for Stony Brook, and that was the one they lost. No fumbles whatsoever for Townsend today.
Stony Brook has rushed for at least 123 yards in each of their first 4 games this season. Or rather, each of their first 5 games this season. Today they're at 88.
Oh, by the way, congratulations to the Stony Brook volleyball team. Big 5-set victory over New Hampshire last night.
2nd down and 10 on the Stony Brook 14. Ferguson on the play fake is going to throw to the outside. It's caught by Street, but he's held up inside the 10. And here comes help from Stony Brook. 6-yard pickup on the team-leading 5th catch of the day by Darian Street. And it sets up a 3rd down and short.
And if you're at the game listening right now, you want to challenge yourself. The Stony Brook men's soccer team is playing at UMBC at 7 o'clock tonight. So if you can find like a quick ride to UMBC tonight and catch the men's soccer team at UMBC.
Listen, if I knew this game was going to go by so quickly, maybe we'd huff it over there.
Right. Good luck to Ryan Anatole and the men's soccer team. That's a big conference game against UMBC.
3rd down and 3, ball on the Stony Brook 7-yard line. 2 receivers set, and it looks like timeout's called here by Rob Ambrose. It is right in the ear of the nearest official. I guess he didn't like what he saw here with 10:42 remaining in the 4th quarter, and his team leading by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was really yelling at Jesus Gibbs. I mean, Ambrose didn't like what he saw. He knows that this is the knockout blow. So they want to get this right, Townsend. This is the game. This is really the game. Barring, and we've seen miracles by Fields before, last year and the year before that. We've seen miracles come back, but Ambrose knows the score here pretty much knocks out Stony Brook out.
Well, as we said, it was a prophetic priori.
Right.
Said 28 points on a Saturday, wins it in the CAA. 3rd down and 3 from the 7. Ferguson, here comes the pressure, throws, far sideline, caught, diving for the end zone.
They didn't make a touchdown call. The PA announcer jumped the call.
Yeah, the PA announcer has called touchdown. They did not have any signal, though, on the field.
And now they're discussing.
Yeah, the call on the field is down at the 1. Let's see.
Coach Ambrose can't be happy about that.
Oh, wow. So the call on the field is it was a fumble through the end zone. Jeff Bernstein said we've seen some miracles before, and if this stands, this maybe would be the start of one.
Fumble through the end zone and a turnover. They're showing the replay. So Stony Brook gets the ball back. A little bit of a miracle for them. Wow. I mean, when you have a Johnny, we don't see many of these during either at any level. When you fumble through the end zone, why does Stony Brook get the ball back? Just for that, you would think, okay, it's fumbled, next down. So why does the ball get turned over?
Touchback. You're saying you want to rewrite the rules?
No, I'm just trying to understand the whole, because we don't see it much at any level. If you fumble through the end zone, the ball gets turned over. Just for our listeners, they're probably at home trying to say, how did Stony Brook get that ball? Either by a fumble or an interception.
And that was the first time that Towson had targeted a tight end today. It was Jason Epps, who actually last time against Stony Brook had a very nice game. Epps made the catch at about the 5 at the numbers, darted for the far pylon, and the call on the field is that he lost the football into the end zone, giving Stony Brook the ball back. It's a touchback, and Stony Brook sets up shop.
What were the odds on Townsend fumbling into the end zone? So it was basically a punt. Stony Brook gets the ball back at the 20 with still only 2 touchdowns down with 10:38 to go. So the Seawolves still have life. Life in the CAA.
First half was a really even football game. Second half has been a bit of a strange football game. So that play is going to stand.
I would have loved to see the replay on that.
I'm not even sure that they went to a review for that play. Officials saying not necessary.
That Ambrose didn't challenge that.
No college challenge.
Wow.
21-7 your score, 10:38 remaining. Stony Brook tries again, this time from the 20. First down pass nearly intercepted. Delonte Helms Jr. right in the chest, dropped it, and it almost led to a pick 6. Stony Brook catches another break.
Stony Brook players are real good guys. They're great receivers, but what you see sometimes, Johnny, is they're looking to run for the touchdown before they catch the ball. And you got to catch the ball first before you can run.
I think the same could be true for Charles Peoples.
Yes.
The cornerback on the play who maybe started running before he had the football. So another crack at it for Stony Brook, 2nd down and 10. On the right hash, Fields takes the snap and gives to Sabah Niket. Puts his helmet down and moves the pile forwards, but not a whole lot going on down to the 21-yard line. Clock continues to tick on Stony Brook. Not a friend of SBU, but still plenty of time with 10:15 remaining.
Yeah, you got to try here and there the run, to keep Townsend at bay. They know that they're going to, use the big play at times, but their best players are their running backs. Lawton, Neckett, Fields are great runners, so you got to use your talented players to run at times as well.
And obviously in situations like this, when you dig yourself a little bit of a hole, not always enough time to be able to run your way out of it. Tykel Fields looking to throw. Pressure coming, steps up in the pocket, throws to the far side, and it's brought in by Newton. It'll only go for maybe a 10-yard gain, and it's a first down, but one of the better plays today by Tykel Fields to avoid the pressure, step up, and hit the intended target.
Yeah, Townsend's in the prevent. They're just trying to keep it in the field. They don't want the ball going out of bounds, and like you said, the clock is the enemy for Stony Brook right now. They're the biggest enemy right now is the clock.
Doesn't seem like there's necessarily a whole lot of urgency right now on the Stony Brook sideline. Far side of Johnny Unitas Stadium. 3 receivers for Fields. They're going to hand off on first down, and it goes nowhere. Right back to the 30-yard line. And the clock continues to tick, tick, tick away on Stony Brook. We're at 9:10 to go in the 4th quarter with the Tigers leading 21-7.
Great tackle there by Daniel Raymond for Townsend. Raymond was very animated after that tackle, which now they have 11 yards needed for the first down.
You need to let the official scorer see who made that tackle. Right? Big celebration. Third down, Stony Brook throw from Fields, caught. Sean Harris Jr. plunging across the 40-yard line. And that's going to set up a third down and very much manageable. 1, maybe 2 yards for Stony Brook. The clock now with 8:30 remaining in this final quarter.
Dink and duck play. Get in range for Fields so we can throw that 50-yard scamper maybe. Or run for one.
Maybe some man-to-man coverage on the near side. We'll see what Stony Brook has in store. They hand off to Roland Dempster, who's up ahead for the first down. Nearly broke it free. And is lassoed down to the 43-yard line. Stony Brook not yet into opponent territory. It is a first down, though, as we approach 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Still a 14-point Towson Tiger lead.
Row D for the first down. Trying to get versatile with some of the offense. You know, like Townsend still again. Just keep that clock moving. They're waiting for the big play for the Seawolves.
We call Lawton the Staten Island sprinter, but Dempster hails from there as well. Fields, pressure coming, uncorks, tight spiral, far sideline, too much on it.
Stony Brook looking for the flag. You could see the players on the field trying to get a flag.
And there won't be one. I mean, almost every single Stony Brook player who is on the sideline just made that mass exodus to where that ball was incompleted.
Trying to put a little pressure on the official to
And there is the hanky.
Yes.
There is the pass interference call. And Stony Brook is into opponent territory.
I didn't see it.
To be honest with you, didn't see a hanky as well.
It is dark in here now. It's getting darker earlier.
No excuses. No excuses from us. Stony Brook to the 41-yard line now in Towson territory. 7:40 to go. First down. Handoff Lawton. Room up the middle. Lawton's nearly gone to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Towson.
Nice run there by Lawton. That's the play they needed.
A 41-yard scamper by the Staten Island sprinter. And it's a one-score game with 7:32 remaining.
Seawolves have life. They needed the big play, and they got it from Lawton, who had an incredible game at Rhode Island. And now the Seawolves within a score, as you mentioned, Johnny.
And for the third time this season, Tyson Lawton is over 100 yards. And the majority of them coming on that last tote. Extra point is up, and it is through from Guglielmello. A little bit of a confidence booster for the Stony Brook kicker. 21-14 your score, with 7:32 remaining in the fourth quarter. We'll step aside briefly. When we come back, it's the final 7:32 from Jonny Unitas Stadium. Towson 21, Stony Brook 14. We'll check in on some scores from around the nation up at the WUSB studios with Matt Mankiewicz.
And back in the studios of WUSB, Matt Mankiewicz here. We'll get you up to date on, first of all, CAA activity. And we do have a game that's winding down in addition to this one. That's William & Mary in Albany. William & Mary still up 31-24, but Albany with the ball with 3:08 left in the fourth. Finals, Elon beat Maine 33-23. Rhode Island over Delaware 22-15. Villanova edged James Madison on the road, no less, 28-27. Major League Baseball, we are in the bottom of the fourth inning. Braves lead the Brewers 2-0 in Game 2 of that series. Game 2 of the Dodgers-Giants series will follow. And, of course, the day in football begins very early, 9:30 a.m., when the Jets take on the Falcons in London. Right now, we'll send it back.
Much appreciated, Matt. Kickoff from Angelo Guglielmello, caught by Hunter at the 10. Outside the numbers, still on his feet to the 25, and finally lassoed down by Tyler King and friends. With 7:22 remaining in this fourth quarter. Glad you're with us. He's Jeff Bernstein. I'm Jonny Wincott. This is Stony Brook University football on WUSB 90.1 FM. Well, mere moments ago, it seemed like this game was done. Towson was about to enter the end zone with a 21-7 lead. In fact, they did sort of enter the end zone, but the ball was fumbled through the end zone.
Hashtag fumble in the end zone.
which gave Stony Brook the ball at the 25. They'd make good on it. A 40-plus yard scamper into the end zone by Tyson Lawton. We're at a one-score game. First down and 10 for the 26 for Towson. A critical offensive drive. They go on the ground first down, past the 30-yard line. Howard to the left. Between the near side numbers and the left hash. Give him 4 yards on the play. Clock continues to tick, tick, tick. Down to 7 minutes here at Johnny Unitas Stadium.
As you mentioned, just to re-promote, 16 carries, 109, 2 touchdowns, and that 41-yard touchdown run for Lawton, who is a legend for the Stony Brook. Out of running back it's for the Seawolves, and doing an incredible job in keeping the Seawolves alive.
And really making up for some lost time. You hadn't seen much of him here in the second half. Ferguson hands off to Howard Jr. and Tyler King makes the play. King was the only man he needed to beat to pick up some positive yards, and he didn't. Instead, he's right back to the line of scrimmage, and we are right back to another critical third down. And it's awfully quiet at Johnny Unitas Stadium.
Now, I know Chuck Berry doesn't like to call timeouts, but 6.5, do you call a timeout now if you stop him? You know, with 6.5, Johnny, just putting it out there. You know, I know Stony Brook doesn't like to do that, but we'll see.
4 receiver spread set for Chris Ferguson. Reddick showing pressure. Here it comes from Stony Brook. Ferguson gets rid of it. Low throw. Did Street catch it? Yes, he did. First down. Rather Smith, when in doubt, find number 22 in black. Caleb Smith, Towson's leading receiver, has a 10-yard gain for the first down. 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Towson 21, Stony Brook 14.
See, that was critical. I would have maybe thought about calling a timeout if they would have stopped them there, because the clock is definitely your enemy, as I've been mentioning for the last 10 minutes.
Stony Brook has brought pressure, but they're not getting to Ferguson, which often means someone's probably open in the secondary. First down and 10 from the 39. Ferguson off the play fake, tries to throw to the fullback, Hamilton, and it's off his left hand, incomplete.
Yeah,
Even if Hamilton makes that catch, he's swarmed immediately by Stony Brook defenders.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton was 4 or 5 yards from him, but he fired it right into his chest like it was 40 yards away. Slow down, dude.
Of course, the quarterback's probably saying, oh, that's the fullback.
Right.
That's on him. Maybe more importantly for Stony Brook, the incomplete pass stops the clock with only 5:34 remaining.
And
Stony Brook has all 3 timeouts.
Townsend has 2, but they don't plan on using any of them.
Second down from the 39. Ferguson looks to throw, whips right over the middle. Epps has it. 5-yard pickup, half the yards necessary, or rather Jabari Allen. That will continue to move the clock toward the 5-minute marker. And how many times have we said this today? Here comes a big third down.
Yep, same situation again. Do you call a timeout to stop play if you hold them?
The defenses today have not had much success on third down. Combined, the offenses are 17 for 25.
Yeah.
Towson 10 of 15. They'll have another crack here. Spread set, third down and 5. Ferguson with Howard Jr. on his right hip. Takes a good snap. Here comes the pressure. Lloyd the hit. The throw, is it picked off? No, incomplete. Pressure got there from Carthel Flowers. Lloyd, as he celebrates en route back to the Stony Brook sideline. And the coverage was there in the secondary. So both parts of the Stony Brook defense clicking on that third down. That'll bring up a 4th down and 5. Stony Brook should be getting the ball back here.
Yes.
With a chance to drive down the field and tie the game.
Props to the defense holding Townsend. You know, they get the ball back with a chance to tie here. Who thought that would happen?
Last time McDonough punted a 72-yard ball down to the 2-yard line. If he did that this time, it'd go into the end zone. From the 35, high kick. This one a little bit shorter and caught by Niket at the 21. Here comes Tykel Fields on the offense. 4:43 remaining, fourth quarter at Johnny Unitas Stadium, where the Towson Tigers lead 21-14.
And that's why I'm not a football coach, because he got all 3 of your timeouts left. I would have called one early and then been down to 2 timeouts. So Chuck Priori, been doing this a long time. Got everything he needs now, 3 timeouts, and ready to a good chance with plenty of time to tie the game.
Probably a lot of missed field goals, too, if you were at the helm here.
Exactly.
Let's do it. Fields today, 164 yards through the air, only 9 on the ground. Stony Brook handoff, Lawton jukes right, now meanders back left, and zigzagging his way for an 8-yard pickup.
You just play normal, Johnny, here, or are you rushing a little bit with 4:30 to go? You're only down one score.
For a team that prides itself on running the ball, and they may run the ball here for some success, it's going to mean the clock's going to move. I think Stony Brook needs to show a little bit of urgency here. 4:10 to go, fourth quarter. Another handoff. Lawton dives up the middle. That should be enough for the first down. And if it is, it will stop the clock briefly. 4:05 remaining.
Townsend, you're just containing. And last time you let Lawton run for 41, you're just containing again and trying to stop the big play. Does Chuck Brewery look to try to run this thing to the end zone or use a big play to get to the end zone?
He's also, I think, trying to keep this Towson defense honest.
Right.
Saying, hey, we could still either run or pass. You're going to have to prepare for both. On the snap, first down. Fields, immediate throw left side. Helms Jr. makes the catch, wrapped up at the 40, and good tackling by Towson. Helms tried his darndest to get out of that tackle. And if he did, he was off to the races.
Yeah, they're picking it up a pace now, Stony Brook.
8-yard gain, 2nd and 2 coming up. And the clock ticks under 3:30 now. 21-14, Towson over Stony Brook.
327 yards total for the Seawolves.
Another handoff, Lawton. Up the middle, not enough for the first down. 3rd down and 1.5, we'll call it. And because Stony Brook's running, and because they're not getting the first down, the clock to 3 minutes.
We've seen in the past, just give Fields 50, 40, 50 yards to scamper around, Johnny. Magic can happen. Spread it out. Let Fields do his thing.
Stony Brook's redshirt freshman cruising back. Roland Dempster is into the game. Last time they needed 1, he provided 4. Crowd on their feet at Jonny Unitas Stadium. 3rd down and 1. Stony Brook on the snap. Handoff, Dempster met at the line. Plunging forward, and he's got it.
It's close, but they do call a first down. It would have been 2-down territory anyway.
Initial contact, he wasn't close.
Right,
but the pile kept on moving, and I think Tykel Fields even gave him a push from behind.
They would have tried it on 4th down anyway, I would assume.
2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Clock resumes. Tykel Fields sheds the towel.
Fields, 13 of 23, 164.
First down for the 42. Fields steps up in the pocket, floats one over the middle. Harris Jr. has it, going near side to far, wrapped up inbounds at the 49. You can tell Harris Jr. is making a beeline for the sideline, and he couldn't get there in time.
Just don't lose that ball. Under 2 minutes, Johnny.
2nd down and 2 from the 49. 51 yards to pay dirt for Stony Brook. And they've got 105 seconds to get there. Fields, 3-step drop. Throws to the far side. Wide open, Helms Jr. outside the numbers at the 42. First down for Stony Brook. Clock stops for the moment. 1:36 showing on the Towson scoreboard. And a Towson player is down.
Right.
That's going to stop the clock.
The other thing, Johnny, at this point, when Towson knows there's no field goal option, the field gets smaller because now Towson has less defense against the Seawolves, so they know it's only going to be the end zone at this point with 1:36 to go. There's no field goal option, so Fields has been in Stony Brook for 5 years. He's been through the wars before. He's got an opportunity here to put some magic on the board again for Stony Brook. Towson knows they only have to cover 41 yards of defense instead of a full field. So hopefully there's not a big injury here for the Towson side, but it's going to be another wild finish.
Charles Peoples, the injured Tiger. The cornerback is now to his feet and attempting to jog off onto the near sideline. Receives a nice round for the Tiger faithful. Peoples, the transfer from Reedley College. Bernie, you want to play America's 3rd fastest growing game show? Where's that college? Reedley College?
Reedley can't be an NCAA school.
No.
It's got to be an NAIA school, I would think, right?
Yep, in the Fresno area. He's off the field.
I was called Fresno.
96 seconds to go. First down and 10. Stony Brook into opponent territory at the 42. They need 6, and then the extra point to tie. Fields in the gun, takes the snap. 3-step drop, pressure comes, he steps up. He's going to have to run with this one. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage and took a big hit from Vinny Schaefer.
2 guys hit him hard. And he's up.
Clock continues to run. Down to 1 minute and 10. Stony Brook still has all 3 timeouts.
Nope. Wow.
Stony Brook still getting set up here. We're down to a minute. Towson leading by 7. Second down for the 41. Fields has time. Uncorks. Near side. Going for Newton. It's too long. Zone defense by Towson. It looked like maybe there was a small pocket to fit that ball in. Would have needed to be perfect. It's third down and 10 for the 41 with 51 seconds remaining.
Well, you need the first down. 51 seconds is still a lot of time. You need the first down, so you got to get to within the 32-yard line to at least have some life. It's a 2-down territory again, Johnny, because they're going to go for it on 4th down.
Khalil Newton, after making that long run for the incomplete pass, has to go to the sideline. Teddy Awful is onto the field for Stony Brook, the biggest play of the game. 4 receivers spread set for Lawton. Takes the snap. Here comes the pressure. Steps up in the pocket. Over the middle, it's Lawton. He's across for the first down. Ty's son Lawton navigated through a pair of defenders. And with 45 seconds to go, he gives Stony Brook 11 yards on the catch and run. 41 seconds to go, and the clock is still moving.
More life. They still haven't called a timeout.
35 seconds. Fields on the keeper to the outside, and that won't do much for Stony Brook. He gets out of bounds after maybe a 2-yard gain. And Stony now inside the 30-yard line with 29 seconds to play in the 4th quarter.
Chuck Briori's doing a clinic right now, and how would score a touchdown with a minute to go and not call a timeout. He's putting on a clinic right now.
Well, he's been there and done that.
Right.
Second longest tenured coach in the CAA on offense. The 3rd longest tenured coach in the CAA. His team on defense. Priori against Ambrose. Low snap for Fields. Looking left. Throws left. Harris Jr. the catch. Tripped up a yard in front of the first down marker. Oh, a critical tackle by the Towson defender. And that forces Chuck Priori to call a timeout with 22 seconds left. It'll be a 3rd down and 1, if that. What a football game we've ended up having here in the 4th quarter. 7 minutes ago of football time, Towson was knocking on the door, ready to take a 28-7 lead. And as they were knocking, they lost the football through the end zone. And that has changed this 4th quarter for Stony Brook.
And how about Sean Harris Jr.? 8 catches, 109 yards, the long 50-yard one. And so we talked about Harris not playing well since Oregon, and he's really shown his top billing in the CAA, doing a great job. 225 yards receiving for Stony Brook.
Third down and 1. Single back formation. Stony Brook handoff. Lawton up the middle. It's close. He went right into the pile. Needed to go forwards.
Got to call timeout.
Chuck Priori's halfway out onto the field to get that timeout call.
He was going to jump on the official.
13 seconds to go. Well, what's important about that spot, if it's a first down, it stops the clock briefly. They've already ruled 4th down, and it doesn't look like they're measuring. I feel like there are no measurements anymore.
They don't score they don't get the first down, game's over, because you can't stop the clock. So the game's over, right? They need the first down to continue the game.
Maybe it's just me. I feel like we used to get, 3rd or 4th down measurements when it was inches.
Right.
I don't think I've seen one measurement this season.
Officials know where the ball should be.
4th down and short. Stony Brook a football length away from a first down. They're 22 yards away from a touchdown.
They'll have 1 timeout left, Stony Brook.
Crowd on their feet at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Fields takes the snap and rolls right. Now looks left. Fields going down. He's sacked. And this game is over.
Well, last week at Rhode Island, they sent it into OT. This week, a play short.
Tykel Fields never got rid of the football. And he is sacked. It's the dagger. And Towson's going to hang on to squeak this one out by a final of 21-14. Victory formation for Rob Ambrose's Towson Tigers. Chuck Priori said entering this game that our first two conference game, it has come down to the final play of the game. Well, just about follows suit today at Towson. It's the second to last play of the game as Chris Ferguson takes the snap and takes the knee. Stony Brook yet again comes up just a little bit short. Dug themselves a hole they couldn't get out of. Your final from Jonny Unitas Stadium at Towson University. The Tigers 21, the Seawolves 14.
Johnny, good game. Teams are pretty much similar. You know, Townsend just made one more score. They could have blown it open, but Seawolves caught a couple breaks with the fumble in the end zone. And Townsend's better than we thought they were, based on the stats. I think Stony Brook played a good game. They could have been better, but now the Seawolves are home for 2 games against a good Delaware team, and then Richmond. So 1-5 hurts, 0-3 hurts, but no more room. There's no more. They have to win pretty much the rest of the season to have a chance.
What Chuck Priori said he loves about this group through the first almost half of the season, as he's still learning this group, he admitted, is that they're resilient. Another comeback today. They fall just a little bit short in a 21-14 final, Jeff, but I pose this question to you. Would they have to be as resilient if they just simply had better starts to the game?
Yeah. The defense had their spurts when they were really, really good, but they let Townsend run up and down the field when they wanted to. They had a couple of starts, just defense wasn't consistent enough. They're giving up too many points. And that's the one thing they'll have to look at the films of. They're just giving up too many points. They need to make stops, and have a chance to win the games. Even if Stony Brook's offense is not clicking, they could have, in recent years, they could have won this game 14-10, 14-7. But they're giving up too many scores on the defensive end. They've had some spurts today where the defense was played well, but just not enough.
Just peering over the numbers today, you might think Stony Brook won this game. They outgained Towson. They had more passing yards and more rushing yards. They had 10 more first downs than the Tigers did. But Towson made the plays when they needed to. And here at home, they come out victorious by a final of 21-14. Stony Brook, as Jeff noted, back at home next weekend to take on a top 25 team, or at least at the beginning of the season, a top 25 team in the University of Delaware, and will remain at home for the following Saturday homecoming against another very good team out of the conference in Richmond. For Towson, a team that started most of their season on the road, 3 of their first 4 games away from Jonny Unitas Stadium, they will stay right here, and they will take on Rhode Island in what will be a pretty darn big match for the Tigers next week here in Baltimore.
Just before we get back to football, just a promo. Stony Brook Hockey will be taking on Davenport tomorrow at noon. I think that game is at the rinks. WUSB is covering the game. Matt Mankiewicz is doing the broadcast at noon, so good luck to Stony Brook Hockey versus Davenport tomorrow at noon.
And if you're already tuned in, you know how to tune in, whether 90.1 FM, WUSB, or you can head to the WUSB website as well and tune in there. Well, it's been a blast, Jeff, from Jonny Unitas Stadium, where the Stony Brook Seawolves, yet again, in a conference contest, come up just a little bit short in a game that comes down to virtually the final play. A big thank you to Matt Mankiewicz for running things back in the WUSB studios on Long Island. For my broadcast partner, Jeff Bernstein, I'm Johnny Wincott, saying so long and farewell from Jonny Unitas Stadium at Towson University. Your final score, Tigers 21, Seawolves 14.